Olympic Games, Paris 2024.
With Kelly Kids.
From BBC Radio 5 Live.
Lots of Olympic action to come, including round one of the men's 400 metres. British interest in that one, strong British interest in that one. You can hear the beating of the stick here inside the Stade de France that symbolises the start of the action this evening. We'll bring it to you live very shortly. In the meantime, we're going to head to Celtic because Kenny Crawford, they're making a very comfortable start to this new Scottish Premiership season.
They are indeed. A very easy first day in the office for their campaign for Brendan Rodgers and his side. 74 minutes gone here at Celtic Park, and the hosts lead Kilmarnock by 3-0. 2 in the first half, one from Rio Hatate, the midfielder, nice finish to the bottom left corner, and a header from Liam Scales on 41 minutes, and then Nicholas Kuhn made it 3 on 59 minutes. 15 minutes to go, 3-0 to Celtic against Kilmarnock.
Thank you very much for that, Kenny. So we'll keep you up to date with everything that happens there. But our first athletics action of the evening involved Great Britain's Matt Hudson-Smith in the men's 400 metres heats. With us this evening, Catherine Merry and Alison Kirbishley. And Cathy, he comes into this on good form, having broken his own European record at the Diamond League in London.
There's good form. There's really good form, and there's Matt Hudson-Smith form. He's coming in, as you say, Kelly, in the form of his life. He is the world leader. There's 2 athletes in the world that have run under the magical 44-second barrier. That's what male quarter milers want to run under to be considered, top, truly world class. And Matt ran a 43.74 at the London Diamond League a few weeks ago. He is the gold medal favourite. He's elevated himself to the gold medal favourite, and he already has a bronze and a silver medal from the World Championships. So what's next? You go from bronze, you go to silver, and then you maybe just go for gold.
And, we've got our own version of Chariots of Fire, and what better city to do it in, Eric Liddell did it a century ago in Paris. That fantastic film, Chariots of Fire. Well, I tell you what, David Putnam could do a new version, couldn't he, with Matt Hudson-Smith. He's got 3 rounds to get through. He's got this first round to get through, and he's doing that familiar pacing, back and forth. But the confidence he will be going in with is huge.
Matthew Hudson-Smith then takes to his blocks. It's heat number 1. It's the men's 400 metres. The first 3 directly to the semi-final on Tuesday. The European record holder goes in lane number 6. Dondre Watkin of Jamaica, their national champions, on his inside in lane number 5. He could be dangerous for Matt Hudson-Smith, but the world leader will be confident to get himself through automatically. They settle into their blocks. The gun goes, the bright orange spikes of Matt Hudson-Smith, a familiar head-down drive phase around the first bend. Down the back straight he goes. The Jamaican Watkin is moving nicely. He's a 44.48 runner this year, the Jamaican, so he's no slouch inside the European record holder. But at the 200-metre point, Matthew Hudson-Smith, now he'll console and look around and see where he is, because he's absolutely flying. He's got about a 6-metre lead coming into the home straight, the left-hand lean of the Birchfield Harrier. The US athlete Bailey running nicely on the inside of lane number 3, but Matthew Hudson-Smith is shutting down. He's just making sure he's going to finish in a top position. 44.79 seconds, as easy as you like. The American Chris Bailey does come through for second, the athlete that was third at the US Championships. But Matt Hudson-Smith looks up at the screen. 44.79 for Matthew Hudson-Smith. Now, Alison, is easy work.
Rounded down, 44.78. A wry smile on his face. The thing is, no matter how much of a favourite you are, you still have to come out, and the nerves will have been jangling. He had to go through the process. He's had a couple of days in the village just to settle himself down, come in, do the warm-up, go through the call room. But coming in with the favourites tag, I mean, it is pretty open, but he is, I would say, the favourite, certainly after what he did in London at the Diamond League there. But as you said, Kath, he did all of his running in the first 250 of that. He really did run hard through 200 metres into the bend, and then he just used the big screens coming home with Chris Bailey inside him. He was just checking that the American was there for company He didn't have to worry. Really, really good performance from Matt Hudson-Smith.
He just leaves the track, the camera in his face, as you'd expect as a world leader and the first heat winner, Kelly, and he put a big finger up, number one. He's just got to stay calm, he's got to stay cool. Matt Hudson-Smith just has to stay healthy. We have to wrap him in cotton wool because he has had so many injury problems. He's been very public about other issues that he's had over the last few years, but he's moved to America. He's based in Florida with Gary Evans. He trains with the reigning Olympic champion who's coming up shortly. This could be his time. This could be Wolverhampton-born's Matt Hudson-Smith's time to shine.
That's why I was a little bit more reserved in terms of talking about his form coming into this, because he has had those injury problems, but he's come absolutely blazing back for them. Alison, is that the only thing that stands between him and Olympic glory?
Yeah, and I think we talked about it last night, didn't we, particularly around the women's sprint. There's not a huge amount of difference in terms of ability and times, and particularly with the sprints, the 1, the 2 and the 4, you are expecting them to get close, if not breaking personal best at this level. 800 and above, it can be more tactical, so it's not necessarily going to be the quickest that wins. Matt, he's just a different character now. It's taken him some time to bed in with his coach, but Gary has got him where he needs him to be. And he's just happy, and a happy athlete is usually a good athlete that can deliver when it really matters. And he's had you only need to look down his biography. He's had so many, near misses, silly mistakes, disqualifications because of false starts, falling out of his blocks, running out of his lane, just lots and lots of times you just kind of head in your hands going, really, Matt? And he's had, like Kath said, he's been very open about his own mental health battles as well. And I think just being able to, it's almost been cathartic for him to be able to share that, because he's in such a good place now. And I really do hope, like Kath said, it goes from bronze to silver to gold here.
A happy athlete off the track. My coach Linford Christie used to say to us lot when we were training, just make sure everything's in order at home, please, guys, because a happy athlete off the track then gets reflected on the track. Matt moved to America and he was eating raw chicken. His training partners were taking the mick out of him because he couldn't look after himself, bless him. He was flying his mum out to help him out, but he's now developed into a really mature young man. He's getting married soon, he's in a settled place, and he knows how to train, Kelly, and he knows how to stay in shape. So fingers crossed. He's got a little bit more of a way to go, of course. The favourite tag is one that is weighing heavy on some athletes' shoulders, but that was a really good start. And we've still got Charlie Dobson to come, who also is in the form of his life, and he's the second fastest 400-metre runner that Britain has ever had. So he's still to come.
We'll bring you that very shortly. But another Brit who's been working on making sure that he is mentally strong and healthy coming into these games is Adam Peaty. He is back in the pool this evening at La Défense Arena in the men's 4x100 metres medley relay final, having recovered from COVID. It's been quite a games for Adam Peaty and also Alistair Bruce Ball. It's the return of the Alliance.
Yes, for the last time in the pool in Paris, Léon Marchand will swim in front of his adoring public. You've timed it perfectly, Kelly. Adam Peaty has just arrived with the British team. He's described this week, following the silver medal in the 100 metres breaststroke, as physically the most difficult week of his life. Swam in the qualification heats for this 4x100 medley relay and will swim in the final tonight. Ollie Morgan will swim the backstroke, Adam Peaty on the breaststroke, Duncan Scott on the butterfly, and Matt Richards on the freestyle. So Duncan Scott has come in for Joe Litchfield. The Americans always win this event, and I mean always. The only time they haven't won it was in 1980 when they didn't send a team to the games. Right, I think this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Oh, it's a slow build as well. Here they come. The French Fab Four. 22-year-old Léon Marchand will swim the breaststroke leg up against Adam Peaty there. Walks into the arena once again, 4 gold medals to his name. His life has changed forever at these games. And France were the quickest team in qualifying. They're not going to win the gold, I know that, Steve. But that just adds an extra little buzz, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And I tell you who else is trying to do a buzz. We've got a thunderclap coming in from Manadou. Do you know what? This is something else I've not seen at a swimming pool this week. It's like an Icelandic thunderclap. Manadou, 33 years of age, he's medalled at every Olympic Games since 2012, and he's just loving this. He was going around this week, Karen, saying, I've loved swimming so much, I'm waiting for the Euros when they come back to Paris.
It's interesting because normally they're so focused before the race, there's not the interaction with the crowd. He's just gone totally off piste. He's getting really stuck in. I do wonder if 100 is a bit far.
I don't
Floron.
I don't think Floron Manadou's done 100 metres in 10 years.
Not for a while.
Right, France are going to swim in lane 4. It's a shame Marchand and Peaty are not right next to each other, actually, because that's a battle within a battle, and Peaty, I think, will try and respond to that, taking on the home favourite. Canada will swim in lane 1. Great Britain in lane 2. USA, red-hot favourites. They've made 3 changes to the team tonight, and it's made it even stronger. Ryan Murphy, Nick Fink, Caleb Dressel have all come in, and Hunter Armstrong, who swam the backstroke in qualification, will swim the freestyle. France in lane 4. Johan and Doy Brouard will take it off for them, then Léon Marchand, then Maxime Grousset, and then Florent Manodou will bring it home. The whistle signals for the swimmers to get into the water to get ready for the backstroke. China in 5, they'll be dangerous. Netherlands in 6, Australia in 7, Germany in 8. Swimmers ready to go. Whistle blows, and they pull themselves into this tight ball, this release position, to launch themselves off the wall for the 100 metres backstroke at the start of this medley relay.
Take your marks.
Lift themselves out of the water. The gun goes, and we're underway. Epic noise inside the arena. Roaring France on, and Doy Brouard for France over in lane 4. And just having a look at the early stages of this race, China have gone out hard. Ollie Morgan for Great Britain is up there as well, Karen. Pretty even, actually, over the first 40 metres or so.
Yeah, not a great start from Ollie Morgan, but he's well up into this race now. Ryan Murphy was very quick away, but Ollie Morgan right on top of him now. And Xu of China going very, very well.
Right, the first turn on the backstroke, America leading, no surprise. China in second, Ollie Morgan had it in third there. Peaty against Marchand is on the way. Let's look at them on the diving blocks. Deep breath from Marchand, just checks the goggles are in place, and there's Adam Peaty. He's going to be up for this challenge, hasn't been in his best form, but I think he's going to relish this. Ollie Morgan has had a really good swim there. 4 swimmers in lanes 2, 3, 4, 5 pretty much touched the wall at the same time. China were just in front. Marchand has got ahead of Peaty, but in lane 3 at the moment, it is the USA, it is Nick Fink, and that's a fabulous battle, Karen. But look at Adam Peaty tearing down the first 50 metres.
Yeah, absolutely loving this. He's got a great stroke rate, powering down the first 50. Chin Haiyan going for China as well, though he wasn't great in the individual, but he swam well through the heats of the relay. He had a great turn. It's all about who can hold on in this second 50.
Right, China leading this race. Adam Peaty up for the challenge, but it's Peaty and it's Fink and it's Marchand, and they are all shoulder to shoulder. Peaty responding to the Allez chants from the French fans. The bright red cap bobbing up and out of the water. Brilliant swim from Adam Peaty, this, after what he says has been physically the most difficult week of his life. He's got Britain up into second place here at the moment as we head towards the butterfly. China in first, then Duncan Scott in for Great Britain. They're in with a shout here, Karen.
Yeah, that was a great leg from Adam Peaty, and Duncan Scott, who swam it surprisingly in the heats of this race, but he's up against Caleb Dressel, the American former Olympic champion, also going well, Grousset of France.
Absolute bedlam inside the arena at the moment. China just being caught by the French team. The French team are in for a medal here. Grousset is swimming well. Duncan Scott going brilliantly for Great Britain too. 40 metres of the butterfly remaining, and the USA, who always win this event, are under pressure here. Caleb Dressel, the great Caleb Dressel, giving it everything and making some ground up with about 15 metres to go of the butterfly, but Britain's still in this. 4th place at the moment with Duncan Scott, and the last man in for GB is Matt Richards. Away they go. What a swim from Dressel. France in first place at the start of the freestyle, and Manodou takes it out for them, but he's not going to have enough, is he, Karen?
Well, Pan Zhanlei is in the water for China. He's splashed, they absolutely smashed the world record in the individual, and he is flying down the pool.
Wow, Pan Zhanlei in lane 5 is chasing Manodou. Hunter Armstrong for the USA. They'll be desperate to hold on to their crown. Excitement, ridiculous levels of excitement inside the arena. They're all head-to-head, those 3. It is China, it is USA, and it is France in lane 4, and Manodou is desperately trying to hang on. Pan Zhanli for China. Great Britain in fourth. They're just going to miss on the medals here. Pan Zhanli gets away from Manadou and wins it for China. USA take the silver. They've never done that before. And France get a fantastic bronze medal in a quite thrilling race, in a crazy atmosphere.
Wow. And if I told you the event was under review, that extends the agony. But guys, if that event stands, it's the end of an era. Never have the United States not been the most dominant all-round nation on this men's medley relay. But it's over. China have beaten them, and beaten them comprehensively here. Pan, he came flying like a rocket down that second 50.
China take the gold medal. USA, for once in this event, have to settle for silver. France with a brilliant bronze. So Marchand gets another medal to his collection to add to the 4 golds. And Great Britain, Karen, did themselves proud, actually, with that swim, because I didn't quite expect as much as that from Great Britain.
No, that was great from them. And Adam Peaty, 58.16, so around a second faster than he managed in the individual. Obviously, he had a flying takeover, but that just shows he's just getting back to fitness from having been ill. That cruel illness hit him at the wrong time, but a great swim from the boys.
And that also, Kelly, is Great Britain's last involvement in the pool in Paris. So they have ended these games 4th place there with 5 medals, a gold and 4 silvers. But for once, for the very first time in the history of that event, the great American team have been beaten, and Pan Zhanli, the Chinese teenager, the world record holder, has brought it home, and France celebrating the bronze.
I want to talk to you all about the United States and the meet that you feel that they've had this time round. But they do have one more race to go, as Ali said, which is the women's 4x100 metres medley relay that's coming up around about past, probably just afterwards. But it is the last involvement for Team GB in the pool. So, Karen, how do you think they've done?
Well, it's been ups and downs, I would say. I mean, there's been obviously the 4x200 freestyle relay retaining that title, the same 4 swimmers coming back and retaining their Olympic title. They had the job to do, and they did it, and it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. Each of the individual swimmers did their job, and it was fantastic. But we also had the agony of 4th place finishes for Freya Colbert and for Max Litchfield, and heartbreaking when swimmers get so close, and those disappointments really hit home. And to miss 2 gold medals twice by 2/100ths of a second, you know, these margins are so close between completely changing the fortunes of a team from having 3 gold medals to 1 gold medal, having 7 medals, 5. It's so tough because the margins are so fine. But I think on the whole, we've had some fantastic performances, individual performances, some great races, had some swimmers in the mix, which has been really exciting to see. But there's been a couple that have been agonising for us to watch.
Steve, I don't think this was predicted to be as successful as Tokyo was for Team GB, but do you think that they will feel that they've met their targets, that they've delivered?
I would suspect that their actual target was a little bit higher. You know, five medals by any historic count for the British swim team is good, but we've had a real purple patch in the last couple of Olympic Games, winning 8 medals last time. That reset expectations for the team. But it comes down to one person. It comes down to Adam Peaty. He has carried the team so much in the past that it has delivered an additional 2 medals. When you stick a world record holding performer like Adam Peaty in the mixed medley relay and the medley relay that we've just gone, you would automatically pick up 2 medals. I think we've seen great individual performances from Ben Proud, brilliant on the 50 freestyle, Matt Richards on the 200 freestyle. You know, Adam missed out himself with that 100 breaststroke, and then Duncan Scott, I think he gave the swim of his career on that 200 metres individual medley against Marchand. What I'd like to see is, how do we get Adam Peaty back to his best? Has he even got the appetite for doing it? And also, in the nicest possible way, how do we get the women's team contributing to this medal tally? Because at the moment, it's just the men that are bringing in the hardware.
We'll come on to that, because I imagine that's a more complex question in just a second. But Well, Adam Peaty would say, Karen, he tested positive for COVID just after picking up that silver medal, said he felt a little something in his throat just before the race, and then he's only just come back in for this 4x100 medley just now. How much has his illness, do you think, made a difference to how GB will look back on this?
It's definitely had an impact. I mean, I think that when we looked at his performances, a silver medal, given what he had gone through, was an outstanding achievement, and one that maybe 12 months ago you wouldn't have even expected that he would have been walking out to be part of these Olympic Games. So, putting it into that perspective, it was a great achievement. But then when you think, well, actually he was ill, so it could have been a gold medal, and it's not just the battles that he's gone through, that adds a level of frustration. And I think that he's not the only person that's been ill on the team. Tom Dean has suffered with illness as well, and I think when results are changed because of that, there is definitely, it hits a team hard, because that's not down to hard work or preparation or commitment. They put the work in, and it's tough for an athlete when those kind of outside forces are the ones that make the difference to your performance on the day. But that is the nature of sport, and at any given time there are countless numbers of athletes ill or injured having their races affected. But it will have had an impact on the team, because that's just such a massive disappointment.
And Ali, I'm quite glad that I said we'd hold off on our chat about Team USA, because we're about to hear the Star-Spangled Banner in the background. So it would have been a bit ironic if we were saying, they haven't quite met expectations while the national anthem played in the background. But as part of that ceremony, it was a bronze for Daniel Wiffen, and this has been a great meet for Ireland.
Oh, yeah. I mean, 3 medals at the Games. I mean, Daniel Wiffen, outstanding performer, and as Steve said as well, 22 years old, so much more to come from him. A gold in the 800, he's taken bronze in the 1500. Mona McSharry got a bronze medal as well. So, had Wiffen taken the gold there, they would have moved above Great Britain in the medals table in the pool. So, no, they've had a great Games, Kelly.
Ali, Steve, Karen, I'll be back with you again very shortly. The women's 4x100 metres medley just after 6:30 this evening. And the full-time whistle has gone at Celtic. Kenny Crawford.
Yeah, Kelly, full-time score Celtic 4, Kilmarnock 0. Brendan Rodgers side out of the blocks fast at the start of this new Scottish Premiership season. A flurry of goals and a clean sheet very acceptable for the hosts, who had Kasper Schmeichel making a very quiet debut between the sticks. Celtic's 4 goals came from Rio Hatate, the head of Liam Scales, a deflected Nicholas Kuhn strike, and Anthony Ralston deep in added time. So the defending champions 2 points clear of their Glasgow rivals Rangers already, who drew away to Hearts yesterday. Tomorrow night Aberdeen start their campaign at St Johnstone. Here it finished Celtic 4, Kilmarnock 0.
Kenny, thank you very much for that. Well, as we've been hearing, it's drawing to a close in the pool, but here at the Stade de France we are just getting started. We've already seen the women's 100 metres final last night. Julian Alfred picking up her medal in the ceremony early on this evening. Alison Kirbishley and Catherine Merry are here. We've got the men's 100 metres final to come. We're in the middle of the heats for the men's 400 metres, and Kath, huge British interest, huge British hopes in this one, but how are the heats progressing?
We're about halfway through, Kelly. We've just had heat number 3. No major shakers at the moment, but as we head into heat number 4, I suppose the biggest news in the heat that's going to go shortly is that the defending champion Stephen Gardner, who I mentioned previously is a training partner of Matt Hudson-Smith, is not starting. He's not been in the greatest of forms. He's had injury problems, but he's a DNS on our system. But I think the one thing maybe that is now showing that we're at the Olympic Games, Alison, is the fact that a certain Michael Norman of the USA, a world champion 2 years ago in his own backyard in Eugene, he's a good athlete, Kelly. He's ran really, really fast indoors, but he's a bit hit and miss. He's just decided, hang on, the Olympic Games have come around, I'm going to run a 44.1 season's best and throw my hat in the ring, which has made everybody sit up and pay attention.
He looked really, really good. And look, as soon as you look down at an athlete's credentials and you see former world champion, that means it doesn't really matter about their form coming in, because it's almost like they've put themselves here because he believes that he can do something special, and he looked so good. A bit of a wry smile as he looked up and watched the replay on the screen. Pushed all the way by Richards, I would say, Jareen Richards of Trinidad. a lot of his podium places have been over the shorter sprint in 200 metres, but he can do things special over the quarter mile and 400 metre distance. So, you know, Matt Hudson-Smith's definitely not going to have it his own way. We knew that, but to see Stephen Gardner, I mean, Matt will have known that, his training partner, the reigning champion. Really, really sad to see. He came here as the flag bearer at the opening ceremony for the Bahamas, but as Kath said, he hasn't raced an awful lot this year.
But who is still in Heat 4, which is going to go on the track shortly, is the American of Quincy Hall. Now, he's the second athlete who has run under 44 seconds this year, because I mentioned only 2 of them have done it. He is going to be a huge danger man, the 26-year-old US champion, along with the likes now potentially of Michael Norman. So he'll go shortly. And of course, from a British point of view, we've got to wait until the 6th and final heat. They're making our Charlie Dobson wait for his Olympic run out here, and we've got him still to come, and he'll be coming up in lane number 5 in the 6th and final heat shortly.
Do you reckon Quincy Hall's got his gold Nashers in? He has this full set of gold teeth, like proper Bond-esque, Bond villain.
We'll keep an eye out for them. I'm fairly sure we'll be able to see them from here.
I tell you what,
might well be able to see them from the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, I think you could.
I don't know if it makes it more or
they might
less
sparkle.
aerodynamic, does it? We will update. We will give you teeth update, and we'll also let you know how Charlie Dobson gets on in his heat in the 400 metres. Earlier today, a brilliant men's golf competition ended with Tommy Fleetwood winning silver for Team GB. He finished just 1 shot behind the world number 1 Scotty Scheffler. He took the gold for the USA. Japan's Hideki Matsuyama took bronze. Here is Tommy Fleetwood. Here is Tommy Fleetwood with Catherine Downs.
Tommy, it's a silver. How does that feel?
Well, a bit of both. I loved playing today and having a run at a gold medal. It's the most amazing feeling. It really, really was. And of course, there's a part of me that's disappointed that I couldn't just go all the way. But I also can't believe I'm stood here as an Olympic medalist, whatever that is. And what an amazing feeling.
There is very few prizes for second place in golf, and the Olympics is special for that reason, right?
Absolutely. And even Xander said Xander was nervous for me hitting that putt on the last, just because we never normally you always want to do the best you can, but you either win a tournament or you lose it. And I was pretty nervous over that putt. I was desperate to get the silver medal when I couldn't get gold. And one of the most special things about it, you watch all these athletes train their whole lives to get an Olympic medal, and I can't believe I'm stood here for one. I just can't.
I just saw Claire and Frankie following you down the first. They were kind of lost in the crowds for most of it. Have you seen them at all? Have you managed to share your emotions with them?
I just saw them then, yeah. It's probably best that they were lost in the crowd, because every time I saw Frankie today, I'd have probably burst out into tears just in emotion. So, just amazing. Amazing to have my kids being able to watch, and my main motivation in life is to inspire them, to show them that they can achieve whatever they want. And days like today and them watching me compete, and then me actually showing something and some good golf and having these moments, it means a lot to me. So amazing having them here, and I can't wait to see them when I get off.
And finally, a word for Finno. Ian Finnis, your caddy, open heart surgery earlier on this year, back on the bag. I spoke to him halfway around and said, do caddies get a medal? If Tommy wins a medal, do you get anything? He said no. So what's he going to get?
I don't know yet, but I'll let him have this one for a little bit. I'll let him hold it for a while, and then we'll figure that out. But it's been great to have him back. I think everybody that's close to him just so happy that he came through what he's been through this year. And I think, I put a lot of pressure on myself when he came back in Scotland in the Open, because I wanted to do so well for him when he got back, and I really didn't deal with it well at the Open. I tried too hard, and I did us an injustice there. So I was really determined to put that right and have an amazing week here. So this one feels good to get something out of it together.
Something to celebrate together. Take it away, that piece of the Eiffel Tower. Well done, Tommy.
Eiffel Tower, thank you.
Tommy Fleetwood. I've done it again, Tommy Fleetwood. It's because I'm at the athletics. That's what's happening. It's Tommy Fleetwood reflecting on his silver medal in the golf. There is a huge night of athletics coming up, and there's lots of British interest as well, if that is your focus. In the men's 400 metre heat, we've got Charlie Dobson still to go. Just after 7 o'clock, we've got the men's 100 metres semi-finals. You're going to be looking out for Louis Hinchliffe and Zarnell Hughes in that. The women's 800 metres semi-finals are coming up. 17-year-old Phoebe Gill goes in that. Gemma Reekie, who's had quite a year, goes in that one. Keely Hodgkinson says she feels the best she's ever been. We'll bring you that just after 7:35. Round about 8:10, the men's 1500 metres semi-finals. That's where Josh Kerr and Jakob Ingebrigtsen go in that one. Josh Kerr, obviously, of Great Britain. George Mills also qualified for the semi-finals. Jakob Ingebrigtsen has that rivalry with Josh Kerr, verbal rivalry as much as anything else. And then round about 10-9, it is the men's 100 metres final, and we're about to get things wrapped up in the pool. It all finishes with the women's 4x100 medley relay final. For the last time, it is Steve Parry, Karen Pickering and Alistair Bruce Ball.
Thank you, Kelly. We're going to be dragging ourselves away from the arena tonight. It's the first swimming meet I've ever covered. The atmosphere has absolutely blown me away. I mean, Steve, Karen, for you guys, you know, you've swum at Olympic Games and World Championships and whatever. How does it compare here?
Well, I'm all for more swim meets inside of purpose-built arenas. You know, this arena is a sports arena, it's a concert arena, and it's worked brilliantly for the swimming event here. I'm a big fan of the 60-metre screen that they've got opposite all the spectators, which has been great. The way that they turn it into a disco prior to the event, dropping all the lights, playing the pumping music, I think it's been fantastic. And if we get Manadou's thunderclap everywhere we go, that's going to be cool and all.
I'm a big fan of the party corner as well, where they put the naughty people.
Yeah.
And it's just the atmosphere. It's been a very different atmosphere to a lot of swim meets. But French swimming, they have a different kind of fan base. Very similar to the Brazilians, I find, as well.
The allays for the Léon Marchand breaststroke, that's new, is it?
Yeah.
Have you ever...
I mean, most people are a bit of a...
Yeah.
It's a bit different. It's much more exciting. Much more prefer the French way, don't we?
Right. Last event then, 35th on the programme. Great Britain not swimming in this, unfortunately. 10th fastest in qualification. Didn't make the final. What is fascinating about this, I think, for me anyway, Australia, USA, tied at the top of the medal table on 7 golds apiece, and both have a team in this final, and both will fancy themselves for gold. So that's a big deal. France in lane 1. Japan in 2, China in 3, Australia in 4, Canada next to them, Summer McIntosh, what a game she's had. She's going to bring it home on the anchor leg in the freestyle. Canada in 5, USA in 6, Sweden in 7, Sarah Sjöström swimming again on the freestyle leg, having already won another gold medal this evening in the 50 metres freestyle, and the Netherlands in lane 8. So swimmers are in the water. Backstroke first, then breaststroke, then butterfly, then freestyle. USA in 6, Australia in 4. Swimmers called to their marks. Launch themselves backwards into the water. Kaylee McKeown swimming the backstroke leg here for Australia against Regan Smith of the USA. That in itself, Karen's a fantastic battle.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the first time we've mentioned those two going against each other in a backstroke race at these Olympic Games, but it is Kaylee McKeown who's got the better of her during this week.
China are going to be contenders as well. They have just done something no team has ever done before in the men's 4x100, as you heard, beaten America in that race to take the gold medal. USA and Canada and Australia all out in front, and in lane 6 there is Regan Smith for the USA, who's just nudged ahead with about 20 metres to go of this first leg of the women's 4x100 metre medley relay. Kaylee McKeown very much in touch, and so is Kylie Moss, the Canadian, in between them. They are the 3 strongest challengers so far. So at the takeover, USA in front, then Australia, then Canada. Lily King is on the breaststroke for the USA, and actually, Karen, quite quickly in this leg, they've got a clear lead, but for Australia, Jenna Strauch is trying to chase this down.
Yeah, she is, and Jenna's not as strong a swimmer as Lily King, but Lily King hasn't been on her best form at these Olympic Games. We've seen she's struggled a little bit. Canada going well in the mix still. Jenna Strauch starting to reel in Lily King a little.
France going well in lane 1, surely lifted by this fabulous atmosphere. These French swimmers at these games are never ever going to forget what they've experienced. Lane 6, though, out in front at the moment is Lily King, Gretchen Walsh and Tori Huss to finish it off for the USA. If they win the relay, they top the medal table in the pool once again. USA are out in front, and then the next three very, very close in lanes 3, 4 and 5. China, Australia and Canada. Next up for the USA, Gretchen Walsh. For Australia, it's going to be Emma McKeon.
Yeah, Gretchen Walsh already swam in the 50 freestyle earlier in this session, so a quick turnaround for her. And Emma McKeon, a very, very fine relay swimmer, but Gretchen Walsh has some lead now, some 5 metres ahead of the field.
Yeah, looking very good for the American team at the moment. On the butterfly, Gretchen Walsh, lead of 5 metres or so from the Canadians in the silver medal position at the moment, and then Australia. Gretchen Walsh hits the turn, comes flying back down the pool towards us. Last event in the pool at the Paris Olympics drawing to a close, and it looks like the USA are going to win it to top the medal table. France are not going to get in the medals here, and Gretchen Walsh is swimming beautifully, throwing herself forward, both arms each time with the butterfly stroke, and her teammate Tori Huss is waiting. Got to be careful on the takeovers, get it right, don't get disqualified, and here she comes now, Walsh to Huss.
Yeah, and Huss swam a superb 51-point anchor leg on the mixed medley relay to hold off China last night. She has been in supreme form at these Olympic Games, and in the water for Canada it is Summer McIntosh.
Oh, they're miles ahead of the world record pace as well. We might finish with a world record from the USA in this event. So it's USA, then it's Canada, and Australia and China battling it out for the bronze at the moment. The medal looks like it's in the bag for the USA. They are going to finish this meet on a high. They're ahead of world record pace, and Tori Huss is bringing it home. Tori Huss, 30 metres to go, arms slicing through the water, about to bring the meet at the Olympics here to a close in glorious fashion. Still ahead of world record pace. USA are going to top the medal table again because Tori Huss brings it home in world record time. Fantastic race for the silver medal. Australia take that, China take the bronze. Another night of incredible action in the pool, and that swim so good from the USA. You can hang it in the Louvre.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, the sum of its parts, is that team was better than the sum of its parts. They all seem to swim better there as part of this team than they did individually. You put that together and you get yourself a world record. I mean, it was truly dominant, wasn't it, Karen?
Yeah, that was the best Lily King we've seen all week. I don't know what her problems that she may have had during the individuals, but she wasn't showing up like the Lily King we know. But she turned that race around, and after she swam her leg, nobody was in contention.
Well, that is it. That wraps up the swimming in the pool here at the Olympic Games. I've scribbled down a few names and a few things, and that's another one, a world record in the very last event from the American women's 4x1 medley relay team. We've seen Bobby Fink smash the world record in the men's 1500. Pan Zhan Li, the Chinese teenager, setting a world record in the 100 metres freestyle and winning China the gold medal in the men's 4x1 medley tonight, beating the American team in that event for the first time in Olympic history. Daniel Whiffin, the first man to win a medal here in the pool at the Olympic Games for Ireland, and a gold and a bronze for him. Summer McIntosh has been amazing, so has Sarah Sjöström. The meet has obviously belonged to one man, the 22-year-old from Toulouse, who we've all fallen in love with, Léon Marchand, with his 4 gold medals. But Kelly, that has been a week of incredible Olympic swimming, and it's finished with a bang. And Great Britain, in the end, finished with 5 medals, 1 gold, defending their title in the men's 4x200 metres freestyle, then 4 silvers from Adam Peaty, Matt Richards, Duncan Scott and Ben Proud.
Do you know, Steve, just to pick up on a thread that we've had over the week about this slow pool, and I don't want to talk about the slow pool because I think what this week has shown is it's not, and I know there was a world record broken today, but it's not necessarily about the times. Once you get to this stage, it's about the competition, it's about how close it is, it's about individuals just chasing these fantastic records. It's about Léon Marchand making Olympic history. It's about the sort of, the rivalry between the USA and Australia and that race for the most medals across the whole of the week. All of that has been factored in to this week, which is what's made it such a great week of swimming.
Yeah, and you know, I need some time to process it. You're absolutely spoilt at the Olympics, aren't you? There's so many great moments to celebrate every day, and the pool has had its own stories to tell. You know, if Léon Marchand didn't exist, we would be talking about the queen of the pool, Katie Ledecky, because she has been outstanding, matching Mark Spitz and Carl Lewis this week with the number of gold medals that she's got. But this has been a week quite like none other for me, where the racing has come to the fore. There's been so much excitement in every race in the pool, or the vast majority of them. It's been great, and good news for Europe. Europe have dominated the men's side of the schedule.
That's poor from me, Kelly, to forget Katie Ledecky in my long list, having basically done a quiz with her cousin on the Metro last night, all sorts of plays.
And won it.
And we won the quiz as well.
But it's exactly what Steve was saying, Karen, and you know what Ali's been saying there is there are so many great moments that actually it's taken a while to process. I mean, we didn't mention the Summer McIntosh Ariana Titmus rivalry, and there are all these subplots that have developed over the course of the week, and it's just added up to a fantastic few days.
Yeah, it's true. And you know, when one sort of rivalry or one race doesn't quite go to plan, isn't quite as big as you expect, take the 100 breaststroke with Adam Peaty and Chin Haiyang, and the expectation of what that battle was going to be, and it sort of faded away, perhaps, you know, due to illness or whatever. But then up pops another matchup that you're not expecting, like the Milak Marchand race, or you know, Sarah Sjostrom on the 100 meters freestyle. So we never had any issues, you know, with if one swimmer or one race doesn't quite go to plan, something else just comes along. But it felt like it was non-stop with excitement. And with the amount of times when I looked at the lineup and I thought, well, okay, someone's going to win, but I can't tell you who.
Yeah, and do you know what, Kelly? Maybe we can leave you with this one. So Adam Peaty has just spoken to Sharon Davis on poolside, and word is he has left the door open for carrying on, which, you know, I don't think a lot of us expected that coming in. And I think, you know, being, you know, a little bit vulnerable in the week and not getting that gold medal, I think he might have a taste for it again, and let's hope he does, because the British team is much better with Adam Peaty in it than him exiting side door.
Well, Simone Biles has tweeted this week to say, can everybody stop asking athletes after they've won a medal what they're going to do next? Sharon Davis has not taken that advice, and she's got a great answer from Adam Peaty. Steve and Karen and Ali, been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your company all week.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
Enjoy it, celebrate it, you deserve it. It's been fantastic. We are at the Stade de France, where we are set for the beginning of a fantastic week. We're a couple of days into the athletics. We were in the middle of the men's 400 metres heats. We've got British interest in this one. It's Charlie Dobson, Alison Kirbishley and Catherine Merrier here.
We are indeed, and like Charlie, we have waited patiently for the young man to take to the track here in Paris. The Colchester Harrier, Great Britain and Northern Ireland, second fastest of all time, with a 44.23 clocking, goes in lane number 5. He's just been introduced to the crowd. They gave him a nice little roar, but not as loud as the roar that you can probably hear now, because that's for Guilège Byron, second at the French Championships this year. He'll go in lane number 4, one inside Charlie Dobson. This is a tough heat though. Alexander Doom in lane number 7 is fourth in the mixed 4x4 relay here already, and he beat Dobson to European gold in June. They renew their rivalry. The first 3 directly to the semi-final on Tuesday. Charlie Dobson's teammate Matthew Hudson-Smith went in the first heat a few minutes ago and ran a 44.78 nice and comfortably. And now it's the time of another British athlete that is having the season of his life. Charlie Dobson goes in lane number 5. He shakes out his legs for the final time. The same familiar bright orange spikes as Matthew Hudson-Smith. Puts himself into the blocks. The stadium announcers will ask the crowd to quieten down, even though they're excited, of course, for their French athlete in lane number 4. 45.05, incidentally, for the French athlete. Charlie Dobson should be able to dispose of him and get his automatic spot in the semi-finals. The crowd does quieten down, and Dobson aiming to join Hudson-Smith. The roar goes loud crowd again. The French athlete pumping his arms, but already outside of him, Charlie Dobson is moving very nicely away from the French athlete down the back straight. Powell of Jamaica moving nicely in lane number 3, as is Charlie Dobson. His shoulders are low. He's not even getting out of third gear here. One of the athletes outside Dobson has pulled a hamstring and gone. Dobson now has to concentrate round the top bend. He's going to have to put a little bit of work in here, Charlie Dobson. He's going to swing into the straight in third place. And he does. He's coming onto the shoulder of Doom, the Belgium athlete, his rival in lane number 7. The Jamaican still leads. But just like that, Charlie Dobson, a little afterburn. He's going to win this heat comfortably. 44.96 seconds, disposing of not just the French athlete, much to not very happy French fans at the moment, Kelly, but also one of his main rivals, Alexander Doom. Comfortably through, 44.96 seconds. And that, for me, Alison, was as impressive as Matt Hudson-Smith in heat number 1.
What a sensible run there from the young Charlie Dobson. This is his first time on this sort of scale, and coming in as the second quickest Briton ever with what he did at the London Diamond League. I've got high hopes for him. The last time we had 2 Brits in a final was way back in 1996, and one of the athletes looked a lot like him, Ewan Thomas, with the ginger hair.
You mean pale and ginger?
I didn't say that. But that was when, obviously, Roger Black took silver, to the great Michael Johnson. But I just think, he didn't get put off by Akwam just outside him, the Kenyan, who went through 200 metres so quickly, and then his hamstring gave way and he popped up in the air. And he also could see the Belgian athlete, Doom, who was brought in to try and do the business for them in the mixed relay. And he just, Doom had to work all the way to the line, whereas Charlie just switched off, coasted in. As soon as he crossed the line, he gave himself a little applause.
Charlie Dobson, Kelly, is quite similar to Matthew Hudson-Smith in the fact that he's had a lot of injury problems. He has always been so talented. He's very quick. He's just over a 20-second runner in the 200 metres. That's what he was doing when he was progressing his career to this stage. He's still only 24 now, but he's another one of our British athletes that if we keep fit, like they both have this year, Matt Hudson-Smith and Charlie Dobson, they can do some real damage on the world scene, which is why they're now the fastest 2 Britons that we've ever had. That was really, really impressive. Both British athletes in good form in that 400 metres qualification.
And Alison, I loved your description of that race as sensible. It's very underrated, especially in a young athlete.
And particularly in the 400 metres, it's really hard for us all to appreciate. I mean, Kath and I, obviously, this was our distance. Yeah. But it can be run in so many different ways. And for us, what looks like a surge from Charlie because he's coming through the field, actually he's just running the same pace. It's everyone else that's starting to kind of run through treacle, as you describe it, which is exactly what was happening to Powell, the Jamaican, in the inside. And it's so easy as well. Once you're on this track, it is a quick track, and you feel so good that you almost just forget the race plan and just go from the gun. And he didn't, I think he broke that race down so well. He looked so calm. And the Kenyan, who did go off outside him, really went off. Your natural, instinct is to try and race him, and he didn't do that. I was just really impressed.
You have to find the way to run 400 metres that suits you. And Alison will know this as well. I used to have 6 different parts to a 400 metre race. It's not just sprint as fast as you can and hold on and hope the line comes quickly. You have to run it in sections.
I did that.
and you learn very quickly, Kelly, how to run it. I moved up as Charlie Dobson did, from a shorter sprinter to a quarter miler, and I used to go off like a bat out of hell, die in the home straight, and I did it once. I am not going through that pain again, and I learned how to run the race, and that is what Charlie Dobson has done now and Matthew Hudson-Smith has done now. And what was really impressive there, they ran their race plan for the main part of the race. You have to tell your body what you want it to do in the semi-finals. You can't expect it to be different as the rounds progress. Very impressive. He's got a great coach in Leon Baptiste, Charlie Dobson, who won the Commonwealth 200 title. He's got good people around him, as has Hudson-Smith.
Do you know what? There's a very interesting conversation to be had, and very interesting kind of work to be done on how much of your personality it reveals as to how you approach a race and what your tactics
really
are and all of that.
I used to love watching Christina Harugu because she never ever failed to just all of her races. I mean, if you break it down from her Olympic win, her World Champs win, her Commonwealth win, her European win, she probably won by combined a whole second, because she used to just pip everyone right on the line. You know, Sonia Richards-Ross, who's here with NBC from America, no matter how she tried to beat Christine used to just come straight up the home straight and just sail past everyone when they were all going through an absolute, you know, brutal pain, because it's the worst pain, 400, when you get it wrong. It really is, because your legs feel like lead, and the last thing you can think about, you know, that line does not come quick enough when you've really hit it and got it wrong. And it can go spectacularly wrong.
We spoke last year in Budapest at the World Championships on our BBC All About Athletics podcast, which is still available. To
download at BBC Sounds. Please subscribe.
To all our wonderful people that work on the BBC, including Jessica Ennis-Hill or Denise Lewis. But Michael Johnson's one was fascinating. And he reveals how he used to run as well as he did and be efficient with his technique, because we talk about Louis Hinchliffe, who we'll see later. It's a different technique, and as an athlete you have to work with what you've got, and you have to be the most efficient with what you've got. But he broke it down and said, this is how I used to train, this is how I used to run. You've got to be consistent. I'm so excited for our British boys in that 400, and of course for all the British athletes that we've got to come shortly this evening. We're dropping down soon, aren't we, folks? We're going to the fast boys shortly.
In about 10 minutes time we're into the men's 100 metres semi-finals, and you mentioned Louis Hinchliffe there. He is living, he says, in a sporting fairy tale.
Yeah, I think at the moment a little bit, yeah, it's been a bit of a fairy tale adventure. So I think like this time last year, I think I was just like sat at home, like in Washington, not really doing anything. So I wasn't even thinking about any of this. So yeah, if you asked me 1 year ago if this was all possible, I wouldn't have believed you. So yeah.
Just tell us a little bit about that move from University of Washington in America, where you'd gone out on a scholarship after winning the English schools in 2022. Just tell us a little bit of how you got to Houston.
Yeah, I think it started at Washington State, so I had like a semester there, and then decided to I messaged Carl, and then he kind of reached out to me and we had a talk, and he kind of thought I could make the GB team, so he like kind of set that idea from the start, and then just like as the year went by, it kind of started becoming more real, and training got better, like everything started falling into place. And then we ended up winning the NCAAs and then British Championships, and yeah, we're here today.
Now that Carl that you mentioned just happens to be Carl Lewis.
Yeah.
9 times Olympic champion, also NCAA champion. How does a young lad at Washington State get the number of Carl Lewis to just say, hey, do you fancy coaching me?
Oh, I think I messaged it was the director of operations, and then asked them to pass it along to him. So yeah, I wasn't even expecting to get anything kind of back. So yeah, it was a surprise when like I got the call back from him. So yeah, it was a big surprise actually.
So what does Carl Lewis see in you?
I think he just saw like kind of a raw talent, like someone who hadn't really been developed fully yet, who was still like running quite fast. So he kind of took a chance on that, and I'm just glad he did.
And you mentioned that NCAA's win, first European ever to take the title. And when you look at the likes of Frankie Fredericks, Justin Gatlin, Andre de Grasse, these are all guys that have gone on, not long after winning the NCAA title, to do amazing things at a senior global level in our sport. Do you let yourself even dream about what could come?
A little bit. I think it's like all about just staying like focused, staying in like the now, not really like thinking too far ahead. So I think just as long as I stick to my training, like keep executing my races, then hopefully like all those things will come. But right now it's kind of just like taking it one race at a time, just not getting too ahead of myself.
So what would be a positive Paris experience for you in Team GB? What do you want to come away with?
I think just leaving it with no regrets, like making sure like there's nothing left out there on the track for me. So just making sure I gave it my best, and like I'm leaving happy with my performance. So like, I don't know what result that will get me, but yeah, just leaving it with no regrets.
Now it would be remiss of me not to mention the hair.
Oh, the hair.
The brother and sister were like, what has he done to his hair?
Yeah, I didn't have this haircut when I left for the US. I didn't even have it in Washington. So
I think you suit it. I think you're holding it well. You're holding it well. Is this going to be a thing now? You're going to see kids coming out, with the Louis Hinchcliffe hairdo.
I don't know. We'll see about that. I don't know if I was the original creator, so we'll see about that. I'll probably try and change it a bit, put my own twist on it to make it the true Louis Hinchcliffe.
And that was Louis Hinchcliffe talking to Alison Kirbishley. He comes across so well, Ali, and in an event where we'll get on to Noah Lyles in a second, it's seen, as being part of the job to be a little bit brash, a little bit over the top, and we do want that a bit from sprinters, but he just seems very measured, very calm.
It was such a lovely interview and the chance to be able to catch up with him, and having never met him, and I did, Kath and I were there at the British Championships. It was the first time that we really he had ran before. He'd never got through the rounds. None of us had really noticed him. He was just one of the bit players. English schools champion in 2022. And all of a sudden, we're now talking about this guy who possibly could win the British Championships, having come over from the States, having won the NCAAs. And to give it credit, the names that I mentioned there, the Christian Colemans, Frankie Fredericks, Andre de Grasse, these are people. Julian Alfred, add that to it. Julian Alfred won the NCAAs last year, and now she's Olympic champion. I'm not saying that this guy's going to do that tonight, but the expectation is there, and it really is a great example of what's to come. And he's just come out onto the track, the first of the semi-finals, to set up their blocks. He's just impressed me. He's impressed me in that he's just taking it all in his stride and clearly enjoying the sport. And who wouldn't, with Carl Lewis in your locker room? If you're going to learn from the best, learn from Carl.
You know what? If you'd have told Louis Hinchcliffe this time last year, you know what, Louis? You sort that mullet out, you make yourself look good, and let's go to the Olympics next year and line up in a semi-final in between the world champion Noah Lyles and the world's fourth fastest man, Oblique Seville. He would have said, nah, really? You know what, maybe I can. And here he is. It has been such a whirlwind. It's a meteoric rise for this young guy, and he is such an exciting talent in the British team. And as Alison said, he's just setting up his blocks, and his coach Carl Lewis, we spoke about this on 5 Live on our coverage already here in the Stade de France, you tell an athlete one thing: you do not overload an athlete's brain. It's not because we're not potentially book smart, but we only want to concentrate on one thing, and Carl would have sent his message, and he's pushing out his blocks. He's living the dream, Kelly. This young man is living the dream. Can he get into the Olympic final? We will see very, very shortly.
We will find out on the other side of the BBC News with Stuart Clarkson.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Kelly, thank you. Sir Keir Starmer has condemned violence in English towns and cities in recent days as far-right thuggery and promised to do whatever it takes to bring those involved to justice. He said he'd held meetings throughout the weekend to make sure police had the necessary support and vowed there'd be arrests, charges and convictions. There's been more unrest this afternoon. A hotel housing some asylum seekers in Rotherham came under attack. South Yorkshire police say at least 10 officers have been injured, including one who was left unconscious. Planks of wood were thrown at police and windows were smashed to gain access to the hotel. Well, there have been 9 arrests for violent disorder as well in Middlesbrough today. A crowd of anti-immigration protesters there broke through a police line. Here's the local MP, Andy MacDonald.
Well, it's just rampant chaos, sheer wanton vandalism, thuggery. They are burning cars, they're attacking police officers and attacking residents. Our university is under attack. This is the most dreadful day, and they should hang their heads in shame.
The National Police Chiefs Council says 147 arrests have been made so far since last night. The organisation's lead on public order, BJ Harrington, has blamed disinformation for driving the appalling violence. He said that posts were often shared and amplified by high-profile accounts. Also tonight, the Foreign Office says it's temporarily withdrawn the families of diplomats working at the British Embassy in Beirut because of fears of an all-out war between Israel and the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. The embassy will continue to provide provide support to British nationals who are being urged to leave Lebanon. And Palestinian media says an Israeli airstrike has hit 2 schools in Gaza City, killing a number of people who'd been sheltering there. Israel says the buildings were being used by Hamas as command centres.
This summer, immerse yourself in the world's greatest classical music festival. From the epic Holst and Beethoven to Sam Smith reimagined.
Won't you stay with me?
And a symphonic Florence and the Machine. The BBC Proms. Watch on iPlayer, listen on BBC Sounds.
The Olympic Games, Paris 2024.
With Kelly Cates.
From BBC Radio 5 Live.
Welcome back to Stade de France. 4 medals for Team GB so far on this day of the Olympic Games. Silvers for golfer Tommy Fleetwood and Amber Rutter in skeet shooting. Bronze medals for Lottie Fry in dressage and gymnast Harry Hepworth in the vault. Novak Djokovic beat Carlos Alcaraz to take gold in the singles of the men's tennis and complete his golden slam. We are about to get underway in the men's 100-metre semi-finals. This first of them features Louis Hinchliffe, who has already beaten Noah Lyles in the heats of the 100 metres. Alison Kirbishley and Catherine Merry are here to see if he can do it again. But Kath, Noah Lyles has said it won't be so easy this time.
You're quite right. After the first heat, for some reason, he thought that people should play to his tune. It doesn't work like that, Noah, at any competition, let alone the Olympic Games. And as you say, he said, I will not be making that mistake again. We'll see. He lines up in lane number 4. 3 semi-finals. The first 2 and the next 2 non-automatic qualifiers will go to the men's 100 metres Olympic final in just under 2 hours' time. Let me bring you the lineup. Ash of Nigeria in 1. Braithwaite from the British Virgin Islands, based in the USA, he goes in 2. Azamati, the Ghanaian national record holder, goes in 3. Noah Lyles, the reigning world champion at 100 and 200 metres, the world number 3 this year. This is the first Olympics when he's taken on the 100 metres. He won bronze in Tokyo over the 200 metre distance. He'll be introduced shortly to the crowd. He's had his hair done. He's got about 10 pearls weaved into the plaits of his hair, the American. He'll start in lane number 4. Louis Hinchliffe in lane number 5, the UK champion, the breakthrough boy. As Kelly mentioned, won his heat in 9.98 seconds, beating Noah Lyles. He's the youngest and most inexperienced in this lineup at 22 years old. There's the roar. He roars to the camera, puts his hand down his face like he's creaming it, and now he's beating himself up. Noah Lyles is up for this one. I don't think he liked being beaten in the heat. Let's see what Noah Lyles has got. In lane number 6, Oblique Seville of Jamaica, the world number 4 this year, 9.82 seconds. Emmanuel Esame of Cameroon in 7. A nice cheer for Louis Hinchliffe. British flags on both of the screens here being waved for the British athlete. Ali of Italy goes in 7 and Mashagani of South Africa in 9. A reminder, the first 2 go through to the final this evening, when one athlete will have a chance, Alison, to battle for the Olympic crown. Louis concentrating, but looks ready and up for this as well.
He really does. Almost like a boxer in his corner. He was eyeing the finish line, looking right down the tunnel. Yes, he might be based in America, but he's from Sheffield, so let's see some Sheffield steel from the boy. And can he get into the final?
His parents will be watching on, his proud parents, a Filipino mother, his father from Rotherham, and as Alison said, Sheffield born and bred. Here we go then, the first semi-final of the men's 100 metres. Top 8 after these 3 semi-finals will line up later this evening. Louis Hinchliffe jumping up and down, the smallest in stature, but he is ready to rock and roll. Noah Lyles claps himself again, does the highest bounce you can imagine. Always worries me that when athletes do that, because I worry about their ankles on the way down. But they're good, they're ready to go. 11 Africans across these semi-finals, 5 Europeans, and 1 of Sheffield's finest. Hinchliffe goes in lane number 5 with a mission to make the Olympic men's 100-metre final. They are in their blocks and settled. It's a long hold, but it's a clean start. Azamati the Ghanaian out well in lane number 3, but the Jamaican Seville is flying. Hinchcliffe's got a little bit of work to do here. The Jamaican wins, Noah Lyles in second, and Louis Hinchcliffe looks like he's come through in third in this first semi-final. A reminder, it's the first 2 and then the next 2 non-automatic qualifiers. Let's check on the result. Oblique Seville of Jamaica, a personal best, 9.81. Noah Lyles in second, 9.83. Louis Hinchcliffe of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, 9.97 seconds, sub 10 seconds again. He will have to wait, but you'd rather wait to see if you can get in an Olympic final, Alison, than just walk off and not be in the mix at all.
Another sub 10 for the young man. He held his own. He didn't quite get the start that we saw in the heat, but he ran quicker. He ran a really, really good back end there, and I think it was more because Noah Lyles got out this time that it kind of made Louis' start not look as good. But look at Seville, Oblique Seville, a personal best, looking over to the left-hand side to say to Noah Lyles, it might not be Usain Bolt, but it is another Jamaican best.
And obviously Noah then looked back to his right-hand side to say, what are you looking at? You wait till this final comes later. What a battle between the Jamaican and the American, and what a run from Louis Hinchcliffe. We enthused about him in the heat, Kelly, when he ran sub 10 seconds and said that was a great run, and that was amazing. And you know why? Because this is big time. These are the best men in the world. He's mixing with world champions, and he's now in the mix to make the Olympic 100-metre final. He's short in stature. He's got the mullet. He's not the tidiest sprinter. He closes his eyes, he scrunches his face. There's a kind of rock and roll, kind of whirling dervish style. But he's in the mix. He came third.
Yeah, there's been quite a lot of chat about his technique, and it's so interesting to watch what happens now for Louis Hinchcliffe, who makes his way to that seat. Where is it, the kiss and cry seat?
Yeah, they've took the name from apparently
kiss and
ice
fly
dancing.
at the but also airports do it, don't they, with the kiss and fly zone, when you can drop people off.
Yeah,
and
it's a hot seat, and you have to wait there until the second semi-final comes, and if somebody in third or fourth passes your time, so thank you very much, but move along please, and your seat is taken. And at the moment, our British athlete Louis is on one of those chairs.
We should talk about Noah Lyles as well, because he's the sprinter in this race who is the one who will have the most conversation about him. He's the one that everybody will be talking about. He's certainly the one who seems to be doing the most talking. But as you said, Alison, he is not the fastest man in the world.
He's not, and there's definitely a little less dazzle with him here. I mean, that was the most animated we've seen. He certainly wasn't like that in the heat. And I don't think, I mean, look, any athlete doesn't like getting beaten. And particularly when you get to the semi-final of the 100 metres, it's all about, pushing the chest out and kind of being very brash and making a statement. And I didn't really see the statement there from Noah. I saw it from Oblique Seville. Oblique has had terrible time with injury this year, so we haven't actually seen him on the circuit much, and certainly haven't seen him in head-to-heads with Noah much. But he's a very slight athlete, a lot more like Frankie Fredericks. He's not as powerful as a Noah Lyles or particularly a Louis Hinchcliffe, but he was so relaxed. He was just puffing out the cheeks. The face was really relaxed, the jaw just going up and down, and then just looking across to his left-hand side, as we were so used to seeing Usain Bolt with all of his theatrics at the end of races. Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what you want. This is what you want from the semi-final.
Can I put into context, though, how fast that first semi-final was? 9.81 seconds is the equal sixth fastest time ever ran at the Olympic Games, and he's tied with an athlete that Alison just mentioned, Usain Bolt, 9.81 in Rio 2016. We know Usain ran 9.63 in 2012 in London, and that is what Oblique Seville has just run. It's a lifetime best for him, and Noah Lyles in second at 9.83 seconds is only 2/100ths off his lifetime best that he set in London a couple of weeks ago. He's dropping down in distance. He won the US indoor title over 60 metres. He won the world indoor title over 60 metres earlier this year in Glasgow. He wants this gold medal in his collection. It's not easy to do, as we're finding out, but we can't discount him. That was outstandingly fast, that first semi-final.
we're all in Steve Backley's sweep where we've had to pick a winner and a time. I'm now, I'm thinking I maybe need to revise it down a little bit.
We've got, well, do you know, that I've been at so many global championships, Olympics and Worlds, where we've watched the times in the semi-final and then almost they've left it all out there in the semi-final and they've all just got in each other's head. And actually, in the end, because I think we've been blessed with Usain Bolt, that's the problem, 9.58 in a final. We don't often see that. And look, Oblique Seville isn't even the quickest Jamaican here. So, it will be really interesting when we see his countryman turn up in Kashane Thompson, who is the world leader in 9.77. And he's the fastest Jamaican that we've seen since Usain Bolt. They will want to be putting markers down, but we're ready for semi-final 2 now.
So much excitement already. Isn't it fantastic here in Paris on this purple track? Stade de France doing a wonderful job so far. Another sellout, 80,000 in the house tonight, enjoying this Olympic Games so far. The sun is going down, the floodlights are coming on. There's nations, the flags of all the nations competing, all 184 nations in the track and field represented around the ceiling here at the Stade de France. And all eyes are on the big screen for semi-final number 2. A reminder, it's the first 2 that automatically get through to the final in just under a couple of hours' time, and then the 2 non-automatic qualifiers currently being led by Great Britain and Northern Ireland's Louis Hinchliffe, 9.97 seconds. So in this lineup, Espinosa of Cuba goes in 1. Matadi of Liberia, their flag carrier at the opening ceremony, goes in 2. Akeem Blake of Jamaica goes in 3. He's run 9.92 seconds this year. In lane number 4 could be I'm going to call him a danger man. Lesile Tobogo of Botswana. They've only ever had 2 Olympic medals across all sports. Both have been in athletics, and the 21-year-old is an Olympic finalist from Tokyo and in good form, 9.88 seconds this year. Akani Simbine of South Africa goes in 5. Ajayi of Nigeria in 6. Another danger man, Kenny Benarek of the United States, 9.87 seconds this year. Many people feel he could pick up a medal here in the 100 metres, and he's a 200-metre specialist. The defending champion from Italy, Marcel Jacobs, 9.92 seconds this year. A former world indoor champion, but hasn't really hit the heights since he won that gold in Tokyo 3 years ago. 10.05 to qualify for this final. And in lane number 9, Hartmann of Germany, their national record holder over 200 metres, goes on the outside in 9. That loud roar was for Jacobs. He's got a pink tinge to his number as the reigning Olympic champion, warmly received by the crowd here in the Stade de France, Alison. But this one's interesting. Tobogo and Simbine, many people in our sport are saying, keep an eye on these 2, they could cause an upset.
Yeah, and Tobogo of Botswana started the season so well, and then quite understandably paused his racing because he sadly lost his mother quite surprisingly and quite, a bit of a shock. So he took a good month off, quite understandably. Getting back to it, and he's wearing nail varnish with her initials on his nails. So will certainly be running with her in his heart. Can he get through to the final?
Semi-final number 2, the athletes settle into their blocks. Tobogo in lane number 4 is the last to settle, and as usual, as us sprinters do, has one final look in the direction where he's hopefully going to qualify for the Olympic final. First 2 guaranteed a spot, and what was the reigning champion Jacobs got in lane number 8? Jacobs out wide in lane number 8. Indeed, Tobogo's got a bit of work to do in lane number 4. The South African Simbine is going to win this one. There's that danger man, Akane Simbine of South Africa in lane number 5. Wow. If that's confirmed at 9.87 seconds, it's 1/100th of a second outside his season's best. His name was in the mix. He takes the win in 87. Tobogo in second at 9.91. Marcel Jacobs equaling his season's best of 9.92 seconds. And Kenny Benarek of the USA, 9.93. And both of those positions in 3rd and 4th are quicker than Louis Hinchliffe, who ran 9.97 seconds.
Oh, I feel for Louis, but what a semi-final that was. And what was Kenny Ben-Aruk doing? Absolutely left in the blocks. As you said, Kath, he is a 200 specialist, but he's been looking so good over the shorter distance. And you just can't discount the defending champion. You said it right at the beginning of the season when we saw him earlier on in the Diamond League circuit. He hasn't been performing on the circuit. He hasn't really done much since, but you just can't discount him. 9.92, equaling his season's best. Tobago looked really, really good for me as well. But Simbini, he's the fourth. He's the Neely man. Fourth at the Olympics, fourth at the World Championships. Can he go one better in the final? But we're just watching Louis Hinchcliffe now making his way through the mix zone with his head down. Well, it shouldn't be down, Louis, because you should be proud of making a semi-final and almost making your first Olympic final.
Yeah, to explain to our listeners on 5 Live what we have to do as athletes. I told you about the kiss and tell room, the waiting room. So
Not
obviously
kiss and tell.
Called kiss and tell, excuse me, the kiss and cry room. That's a whole different subject that we don't want to talk about here tonight. The kiss and cry room. So that's been vacated, obviously, by Louis Hinchcliffe. And then now I can just see to our writing commentary, pacing around. Look at him, Alison. Marcel Jacobs thinking this could be mine again. But then you have to walk out and go through a kind of snake. Think of a theme park when you're queuing with all the other families and the kids.
Like Shrek.
On a hot sunny day, and thinking, is it really going to take this long to spin around for a few minutes? And that's where all our press are. And that's where you talk to the media and you talk to the television, you talk to the written press, and it goes uphill as well, which is never appreciated as an athlete. But that is what Louis is now walking through as he's left the kiss and cry. Is it room? Have I got the name right this time?
Yes.
That's good.
I tell you what, I think Jacobs is through with 9.92. I'll throw my hat in the ring now.
Okay, well,
I think he's. I think he could. I know the last heat is loaded.
Yeah, I'm about to say Alison's gone.
As you start,
Alison's gone early, Kelly, on this one again.
You can literally make an argument for most of the guys in this field to get through. I mean, the world's fastest man already with Kashane Thompson, Omanyala, Fred Curley, former world champion, in there as well. But our own Zarnell Hughes. And you don't want to be looking at fastest loser times, but yeah, I think 9.92. I can't believe how many of them ran so quickly then.
It's brilliant. Zarnell Hughes to come in the third and final semi-final, and he has a season's best of 10 seconds exactly, and he needs to run faster than 9.92 or 9.93 to get himself in the final if he doesn't finish in the top 2. But another shout out to Louis Hinchcliffe. We have to give him the mullet and the shout out again. He was brilliant in his first major championships.
But as you say, Zarnell Hughes still to come, and he explains what will be going through his mind.
When you go to the starting line, there's no thinking whatsoever. You can't really change anything right now. This is the moment you've been waiting for. And if you try to complicate things, then, things can hit the fan. So you try to keep a free mind, and you just constantly remind yourself why you're here, what's your purpose, and what can you do. And you can sometimes hear that little cling sound on the blocks. And that's when you know it's showtime. It's your moment, just your moment. Relax, just relax, just relax. Have fun, have fun, have fun.
What a message to be going through your mind as you gear up for the men's 100 metres. I know these are the heats, but so these are the semi-finals rather, but if you get into that final, to be standing, just standing by the blocks and thinking, just relax, have fun. That's the message. But also that word showtime just tells you everything you need to know about the sprinters.
And that's exactly what they are. They are the ultimate in showmen. And we've seen Noah Lyles, this new guy, for many people outside of athletics that maybe only tune in once every 4 years at the Olympic Games. They'll see the green and gold of Jamaica and yes, they have been used to it, and we were blessed for so many years with Usain Bolt, but they've still only won it 3 times when Usain Bolt won it. It's been an American stronghold, this title. And there are some decent Americans that are showing their own and expecting to come away with the title here this evening. But Kashane Thompson, for me, he looks so good in the heats. Can he go one better, get through to the final, his first Olympic final, and can he start dreaming?
Here we go. Lou Hinchliffe has left at the semi-final stage in the men's 100 metres. But the final semi-final is ready, and it does contain Zarnell Hughes, the British record holder now in the men's 100 and 200 metres. He took those national records off Linford Christie and John Regis. He's bouncing up and down and ready to rock and roll. A reminder, he got disqualified in the Tokyo Olympic final when he lined up in lane number 4 3 years ago. That will not be going through his mind, and he stands next to potentially the tallest man in the field, the Jamaican champion, the world leader, Kashane Thompson. Full lineup, Bunsen of Thailand goes in 1. He's the youngest in this semi-final, just 18 years old. Andre de Grasse goes in 2. Bronze at the last 2 games in the 100 metres, but he is the defending Olympic 200 metre champion, the flag bearer at the opening ceremony, quite rightly, last week. Zarnell Hughes goes in 3. He's going to be introduced to the crowd shortly. The little roar that goes up is for Andre de Grasse, giving a salute on the big screens with his shades, his reflective shades on, looking good in the Canadian colours as always. Let's see what reception Zarnell Hughes gets here from Stade de France. He's chewing gum. He looks good. He's got his necklace on, his cross is sitting on his chest in the dark blue Team GB kit. And once again, we see the fans that have travelled across from the UK. Kashane Thompson is introduced in 4, 9.77 seconds this year. As I mentioned, the Jamaican champion. He said, my coach instructed me just to run the first 60 metres in the heat and nothing more. He ran 10 seconds dead when he did that. Sani Brown of Japan goes in 5. Omanyala of Kenya, their flag bearer at the opening ceremony, goes in 6. A danger man, as I like to call them in these speedy events, 9.79 seconds this year. Grinning. That's Harry Aitken-Zariti style, that is, with his big shoulders waving at the cameras. Talking of big, Fred Curley of the USA goes in 7. Our ranch farmer from East Texas, Olympic silver in this event 3 years ago, the world champion 2 years ago. Outspoken as well, like Noah Lyles, to be fair. What's Curley got in 7? Saminu of Ghana goes in 8, and Richardson of South Africa goes in 9. Here we go then, the final 2 automatic spots that are available for the men's 200 metres final in just under 2 hours' time. The 2 semi-finals, Alison, that have gone before, those that have automatically qualified, they're relaxing in the warm-up area, getting ready for the men's 100-metre Olympic final. Who's going to join them from this race?
Well, if we're going to get a Brit into the final, Zarnell Hughes is going to have to run the race of his life. He's race rusty this year, coming to Paris not running the sort of times that we saw last year, his British record of 9.83. He's got to run anywhere close to 9.9, and I think he's in, but there's a lot of guys in this field that are capable of that.
Hughes settles down. His British record is 9.83 seconds. He picked up a hamstring injury mid-season in a race in Jamaica and is fighting against the clock to get back in time, to be fit. There's no time left. He's got to perform now, and he's got to finish in the top 2. Hughes in 3, Thompson in 4, Sani Brown in 5, and Omanyala in 6. It was a long hold. Thompson out well in lane number 4. The Jamaicans going well. Fred Curley, the American, though, going well in lane number 7. Kashane Thompson's going to win this one. Zarnell Hughes is going to finish down in about 5th place and not automatically qualify or get a non-automatic spot. But Kashane Thompson, 9.80 seconds. Another wow moment. His teammate ran 9.81 and a lifetime best. Thompson qualifies 9.80, automatically through. Fred Curley had an absolute blind of the American. He's just run a season's best in 2nd at 9.84. Richardson of South Africa in 3rd at 9.95. And we're having to wait, Alison, and I'll let you give it because we're having to scroll down a few places for Zarnell Hughes.
Yeah, outside of 10 seconds, 10.01 confirmed in 6th place. He was really slow in his rise when he was going into his set position, but then he did react. But the first 2, 3, 4 strides, there was just no power there. And in that time, Kashane Thompson had already got out and done the damage to Zarnell Hughes. Fred Curley, I mean, talk about waiting to do your season's best. This is a man who was 3rd in his American trials. He looked to the left. He didn't try and chase Kashane, which I think I think he knew he wasn't going to get him, but he also knew that he qualified for the final. He knew that he was second, and I think he's just holding something back maybe. Wow, this final's going to be great, but I'm quite pleased with who I wrote down in the sweepstake now.
Oh, well, we're going to see on that one, Kelly. And just to confirm, Jacobs and Benarek from the second semi-final, the reigning Olympic champion, the danger man from Italy, has made the Olympic final again, as has the American, with their 9.92 and 9.93 clocking.
And just a very quick one, and a shout out to our statistician Mark Butler here. No one has ever ran 9.97 and not made the final. How does that make you feel, Louis Hinchcliffe? I hope it makes him feel proud, because honestly, I don't think he did anything wrong, and to walk away in a semi-final knowing how close he was, it'll just keep him hungry.
Let's hear how he did feel. He spoke to Sarah Mulkerrins.
Louis, I'm sure there's a range of emotions for you. I hope pride is within that.
Yeah, it's good. It's obviously not the result I wanted, but yeah, I can't be too hard on myself, so yeah, it's okay.
It's been such a journey for you this season in particular, with the big breakthrough. You know, how much do you feel you can offer and can learn and grow?
I think, I'll definitely use this experience, kind of learn from my mistakes. So yeah, it's kind of back to the drawing board, and we'll work on it, hopefully come back stronger next year.
And looking at that semi-final, you had Noah Lyles and you had Oblique Seville. You know, what did you make of your execution?
I think I kind of let the race kind of get out too far ahead of me. So I kind of was a bit out of it at the start. So definitely kind of didn't set myself up too good, but it's not too bad. We'll work on it.
All learning experiences, and you have a great coach in Carl Lewis. You know, how has he been as a mentor?
It's been great, kind of giving me a lot of guidance. It's been good. It's been good to have him in my corner.
And I know your family are in the stadium watching. I'm sure they feel so proud. It must be great to know that they're here supporting.
It's good. It's good to kind of be close to home. So it's good. It's good to kind of run in front of them. I've not run in front of them for a while, so it's been great to have them.
Well done, Louis. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you. Thanks.
That was Louis Hinchcliffe speaking after his 100 metres semi-final. He didn't qualify for the final, but as we've heard, in every other Olympics, that time would have made it. He said he's going to go away and work on his mistakes, Kath. But I don't know if that's just the inexperience of being interviewed, and it's just one of those things that you say, because from what you and Alison have said, there isn't that much to go away and work on.
It's a funny one, because he is so mature and experienced beyond where he should be in athletics terms. That was a mature, brilliant interview by him, because what you do as an athlete immediately after you've run well or you haven't run well is analyse. What can I do better? How can I go from good to great? He'll reflect on it, and he'll be very, very pleased that he's run another sub-10 second clocking. He is consistent, which is brilliant. But as I said in those semi-finals, with some of the stats that me and Al are throwing around, and the one that equals 6th fastest time ever in the Olympics, it's been going since 1896. Do you know what I mean? These are really, really fast here. And if you look at the summary, 12 athletes went under 10 seconds in that semi-final, and 9.93 made it into the final. He should be, and he will be, Alison, really, really proud of himself. But we do have no Brits in that Olympic final later on. But the future in terms of Louis Hinchcliffe and getting Zarnell Hughes back fit is exciting.
Yeah, we could play sprint bingo, couldn't we? Because they all come out with I've got to execute, drive, I've got to go back and work on my weaknesses. And look, I think because he's not that naturally vibrant, exuberant sort of athlete, and he hasn't had this very often. This man was winning the English schools 2 years ago. They don't have Sarah Mulkerrins in the mix zone at the English schools. He has done a collegiate. That's the other thing to remember, actually. He's done a collegiate season. It's such a long year, the collegiate season. They race so much. And yes, he's been able to find another level, but to be able to be consistently running under 10 seconds and be able to line up in between Noah Lyles and Oblique Seville and hold your own is, huge credit to him.
When he spoke to Al in that interview, that lovely interview that we had earlier, and it was like, did you reach out to Carl? what did you say to him, and all this kind of stuff. One of the first things that Carl said was, you know what, I think I might be able to get you to the Olympic team this year with Team GB. And Louis was like, really? because he has something and he's proven it. He's come here and proven that he has the talent and the ability, and yeah, he should quite rightly be proud of what he's done. But now the big question is, who is going to win this Olympic final, Kelly? My God. And another stat that I've got in front of me, and this might get smashed as well today, Al. The fastest non-medalist ever at Olympic Games was in London 2012 when the American Tyson Gay was 4th in 9.80 seconds and was off the podium. That's a stat that could be challenged tonight with the speed that these guys are running.
I mean, again, revising my sweep time down.
You can't change it once it's down.
By
Steve
hundredths
Buckley.
of a second every time you guys mention how fast these athletes are performing today. But what it means is there is no place for Louis Hinchliffe in the final, which is at 10-9 this evening. There's no place either for Zarnell Hughes. He caught up with Sarah as well.
Zarnell, just talk us through your feelings after that semi-final.
Obviously I'm disappointed, but I know where I'm coming from. This is just my third 100. Not making any excuses. Today just wasn't my day.
You have had the injuries that you've been contending with all season. It's been a difficult build-up to the Olympics for you.
Most definitely. To come and try to get through the rounds of the Olympics after just injuring my hamstring with a grade 2 tear last month actually. It wasn't that easy, but I dug deep enough to give myself a try, and that's what I came out and did.
You are also in the 200 metres. How much do you think those two 100s will help the sharpness ahead of the 200?
I just don't have to focus on the 100 anymore. Just focus on the 200 and I'll be fine.
No Zarnell Hughes, no Louis Hinchliffe, but what a men's 100 metres final we have set up for 10-9. Make sure you are here to listen to it with us. It could be, as Catherine Merry has been saying, an all-time great. We're about to go in the women's 800 metres semi-finals. 3 British women bidding to reach the final. We've got Phoebe Gill, the 17-year-old. We've got Gemma Reekie, and we've got Keely Hodgkinson. But at this stage, Catherine Merry, how much is it about just getting to the final, just getting your sea legs, if you like?
It's huge, because you can talk about, I am going to do this, I'm going to do that. And myself and Alison will tell you over the years, we hear it from athletes all the time. And I always used to look at them and say, well, I think you need to get yourself actually in the final first before you even talk about winning this and winning that. You have to negotiate the rounds. Our 3 British athletes are good enough in this women's 800 to negotiate this semi-final. And 2 of them, Keely Hodgkinson and Gemma Reekie, they're the fastest 2 in the world this year. But you do have to get through the rounds, and especially, Alison, in middle distance races when you don't have your own lane. And then it can get a little bit argy-bargy, or it can get a little bit tactical. And sometimes, and we've seen it over the years, that people win semi-finals or major championships and they're not actually the best athlete. I used to love having my own lane. I was either the fastest or I wasn't. But you have to negotiate this, and I'm confident that in this first semi-final coming up, Phoebe Gill, she's aiming to become the youngest women's 800-metre finalist in 96 years at 17. She probably's not even aware of that stat, but it would be a good one, right?
It would be a fantastic one. And just as we were talking about Louis Hinchliffe and the fact that he was winning English schools 2 years ago, well, she was winning it last year. You know, I mean, this time last year, she just won the English schools title for the second time, and here she goes in the Olympic semi-final.
Phoebe Gill then goes in lane number 7. The UK champion, the 17-year-old born in St Albans, studying at A-levels at St George's School in Harpenden. They'll be watching and cheering her on. Mary Mora goes in this one. She started in lane number 6. She is a danger athlete. She beat Keely Hodgkinson to the world gold last year. They're the main players, and down the back straight then, a reminder, the first 2 and the 2 non-automatic qualifiers go to the final tomorrow evening. And there's about 4.5 metres, Alison, over this full field in this first semi-final, being led by the very experienced Jamaican, Latoya Gould-Toppin.
Yeah, really interesting to not see the Kenyan Mary Mora hit the front. We're so used to her going out so hard and then backing off in this middle 200. Well, she's not doing that today. I don't know whether that's just because she's not feeling it, but Latoya Gould from Jamaica is the one making the pace. Phoebe Gill sitting right on the shoulder of Mary Mora as they go through the bell in a very comfortable, for these ladies, 58 seconds.
Phoebe Gill's running this wonderfully well, in my opinion. She's running round in lane number 2, but she's out of danger and on the shoulder, as Alison said, of Mary Mora, the world champion. Down the back straight, the Jamaican leads, Gould topping. Then there's Mary Mora, and Phoebe Gill is on the shoulder of Mora. She's in 3rd place, but by about 12 inches. 200 metres to go.
Yeah, great running from Phoebe. Yes, she's running wide, but she's keeping out of trouble. She's now just got to dig in and run the 200 metres, the last 200 metres of her life. It's Gould from Mary Mora.
Jamaica lead, the Ethiopian Mesley's trying to get it on the inside, and she has. Mary Mora makes a move. Phoebe Gill is in 4th place. Phoebe Gill is hanging on. Remember, it's the first 2 automatically, but then 2 non-automatic qualifiers. Mary Mora's going to take this one. Phoebe Gill is fighting. She's fighting and going to finish in 4th place in the first semi-final and will sit in a non-automatic qualifying spot. But 1:57.87, that was as competitive as we thought it would be for an Olympic semi-final, Alison, and we'll wait to see the time of Phoebe Gill. I don't think the young 17-year-old did anything wrong there. Another outstanding performance by one of our newbies.
Yeah, and I think, very different to Louis Hinchliffe in that you've got to add in tactics when it comes to 800 running. And Phoebe Gill is so used to running in races where she is winning by miles. And all of a sudden, she's now in amongst the best in the world and having to work out how to make decisions while she's moving quickly at speed. She didn't do anything wrong. Yes, she ran wide, but running wide means you're out of trouble. You're not going to get tripped. You're not going to run into a wall of athletes. She just got pipped by a fast-finishing Daley Cooper of Cuba there. And it really was all the way to the line, confirmed with 1:58.47. I mean, yes, she's going to have to sit there, but she pushed the Cuban to a personal best, who finished in 3rd. And her and the Cuban will now have to sit in those non-auto seats while the other 2 semi-finals go. But Mary Mora, 1:57.86. Again, I'm not seeing the sort of danger that we've seen with her when she won the world title. I think it might have got to her, Keely Hodgkinson beating her early season. We're certainly not seeing the tactics that have won her the title in the past.
When we look, Kelly, at the result of that first semi-final, and as Ali said, automatically through Mora and Mesley of Ethiopia, who muscled her way on the inside line with 100 metres to go. We're looking at the ages here, 24, 23, 22, 33, 38, and then it's like a bingo card, and then we see Phoebe Gill, 17. Yeah. 1:58.47, another sub-2-minute clocking, not far outside of her season's best. She will wait and see. She does still have a chance, but again, it's another British athlete delivering, and if she gets in the final and becomes the first, youngest women's 800 metre finalist for 96 years, great. But if she doesn't, she's learning all the time.
I think it's quite a difficult thing for people to get their head around, because we expect when athletes arrive at the Olympics, they are the finished product, that they come to the Olympics at the end of a cycle and they are ready to go and at their peak. So the idea of having someone who is so early in her development, so early in her career, who can learn so much from this, it feels a little bit strange. They're supposed to be ready when they get here, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely, and I think, we're going to see Keely Hodgkinson in the 3rd of the semi-finals here, and I think what helped her was the COVID delay of a year, because she was 19 when she went to Tokyo, and I think 18 might have just been a year too soon had it gone ahead in 2020. And that extra year just meant she went to her first Olympic Games and came away with a silver medal. Wasn't talked about, wasn't expected. We didn't see, because there'd been so little racing because of COVID, we didn't really have a form guide to go on. And sometimes it's the fearless that can just come here and just go, I absolutely love the stage, the setting. This is what I'm meant to do. This is where I'm meant to be. I think the best thing for Phoebe is she's learning with another duo of Brits that are going for medals. And that's what you want. The best practice is a template of people who've been there and done it before.
Is it hard to go back? If you've done this, is it hard then to go back to the kind of
school?
More money? Well, school for a start, but also even in terms of competition.
Show and tell's going to be brilliant. What did you do in the 6 weeks holiday?
It is hard, and especially for somebody who's so young, which is why it's so important to have special people and good people around you. And Phoebe Gill spoke about, she won the British title in Manchester, and then a couple of days later she was back doing her A-levels in a math lesson, and then she was off doing work experience, doing teaching at the primary school she went to, and now she's off to the Olympics. Do you know what I mean? And in terms of what Alison was talking about, this is why it is so important, Kelly, so important that national governing bodies give young athletes an opportunity to come and pick a team that gives them the chance to develop. I went to Atlanta in '96 as my first Olympics, got knocked out being beaten by somebody called Merlin Ottey in the second round of the women's 200 metres. I learned so much about the environment, the village, and how much work I needed to do. I went back 4 years later and won an individual medal in the women's 400 metres, and that was because I knew a lot more about the environment. Not everyone's going to do that, but you have to give athletes this opportunity to learn. And of course then you get the high-end ones that are expected to come and deliver the medals. It's a whole range, isn't it, of experiences here.
Colin Jackson has come up to join us. Colin, lovely to see you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I know you were just listening to what Catherine was saying there about developing young athletes and giving them the opportunity to come in and have these experiences, but then also supporting them when they go back to their kind of day-to-day lives and maybe the more mundane competitions.
Yeah, I think myself and Kath has had this conversation, and I've noticed and reflected and said many of the championships I was successful at from the age of 19 to 21, 22, 23, I actually wouldn't have made in this era because I wouldn't have produced enough at the right time. But I went to the championships and I medalled at them. So again, I say gaining experience I think is so valuable. And this is a very unusual environment in Olympic Games because you're stuck in the village, you're away from home, you've got to look after yourself. And when you're young, sometimes that can be overwhelming. How do you handle eating where there's food around you all the time? It's all these little crucial things make a difference with your ultra preparation and performance.
We can't get onto food in the village. If we do that, then we'll be causing all kinds of controversy. I think that's settled down a little bit now. But you're right, that level of self-discipline is required when you're away and you're in that village environment. But also, what I think is quite interesting, we were talking about Louis Hinchliffe a bit earlier on. He played golf to an extremely high level. I think he played off one and could have been a scratch golfer, could have been a professional golfer. It feels as though at this Olympics in particular, there are lots of athletes. I've just come from the pool last week where there were lots of swimmers as well who've kept up various different disciplines until quite a late stage in their development. Do you think that's the right way forward?
Do you know, I'm going to say this sounds really awful when I say this, but back in our era as well, lots of athletes were actually working. They had a job as well as did athletics. And I think sometimes to have that bit of a distraction can help, so you're not completely suffocated by track and field and all that's involved.
Yeah, there are so many different ways to do it, Alison, in terms of development. If you see someone with a really special talent, that must be the temptation is to put them into something really specific, really, really quickly, and yet that's not always the right way forward.
No, it's not, but I think, this is why athletics is such an interesting sport. It takes a person, and I'm very, very different. I look at my sister, I'm a very different person because of athletics to my sister, because I came through a competitive sport which moulded me into the sort of person I am today. And we've got one lady who's stood down behind her blocks in lane 5 who's looking to try and better what she did in Tokyo 3 years ago.
Yeah, on the track, folks, here goes Gemma Reekie. She's lining up in the second semi-final. A reminder, the first two guaranteed a place in tomorrow's final. Phoebe Gill in one of the non-automatic qualifying positions. Renelle Lamotte, a semi-finalist in Tokyo, is in this one. But Gemma Reekie, missing out on that medal 3 years ago by under a tenth of a second, is looking to take charge of this one, and she's at the 200-metre point along the shoulder of Daguma, the Ethiopian.
Yeah, and she knows Daguma well, because when all the eyes were on Gemma Reekie in the World Indoors in front of a home crowd in Glasgow, when we all had hopes for her to take her first title there. It was this young Ethiopian who came and spoiled the Scottish party. Well, Daguma hasn't raced an awful lot this year at all. She knows she's got Gemma Ricci on her shoulder, and look at Le Mans with the stadium behind her from France, tracking Gemma all the way. 56.71, it's quick, Cam.
Yeah, it's nearly 2 seconds quicker than the first semi-final. That's not good news for Phoebe Gill in a non-automatic qualifying position. But the roar, as Alison said, is for La Motte of France. She's in third at the moment. But Gemma Ricci is still stuck like glue onto the shoulder of the Jamaican Daguma. Remember, it's the first two only guaranteed a spot in the final. Gemma Ricci's going to go soon, surely, Alison.
No, she's winding it up. She looks so comfortable. Yes, she's running wide. Daguma is not letting her in at all. Now she hits the front. Now she starts driving. 150 left.
Into the home straight in this second semi-final. Daguma is holding the inside line. Gemma Ricci driving her arms, trying to keep herself into an automatic qualifying position, but she's struggling here, the Briton. Gemma Ricci's fading back into fourth place. The Ethiopian's going to win this one. She's going to clock 157.47, and Gemma Ricci finishes in about fourth position. She battled with the Ethiopian all the way round. But 157.47, it looks like a fifth place finish for Gemma Ricci, which will not get her in to the Olympic final.
Oh, huge disappointment there. Gemma Ricci, after running what she ran in the London Diamond League, going second quickest in the world this year, smashing her personal best. And I don't know what she did there. I really don't know. Daguma was the one controlling that race. Gemma looked so comfortable, but she was playing to the orchestration of Daguma. Daguma just kept grinding it out. She looked to her right and she just dug deep, and Gemma had nothing left. She was trying so hard to pump the arms, but the St. Vincent Maloney, a massive national record in second place, 157.59, came from nowhere. Whitaker of America, 157.76. These times are just madness to get into the final.
Kelly, we have two massive boards in the Stade de France here at either end of the stadium, and once again it is full of letters, and what I mean by that is Daguma, PB, personal best. She's just ran the fastest race of her life, 157.47. Maloney, a national record of 157.59. Whitaker, the USA athlete, in third, a personal best. That was so fast. I can't emphasise how much our British athletes are delivering good performances, but the rest of the world are too, and that's what the Olympic Games is about. And to confirm, Gemma Ricci finished in fifth in 158.01. And the two fastest non-automatic qualifiers so far therefore come from that second semi-final, and Phoebe Gill will therefore leave the hot seat, again with her head held high after an amazing performance from a 17-year-old.
Back to these small islands again as well. St. Vincent, 103,000 people, and they've now got a woman that's just come and smashed out a national record and is into the Olympic final.
I just want to ask you about these times as well, because as Catherine was saying, it's a really fast semi-final, but this is to do with the track as well, that's been specially developed with the manufacturers of the running shoes. So, but in terms of races, in terms of where you are relative to your competitors, that shouldn't really make a difference, should it?
No, absolutely not. Look, without a doubt, we know shoe technology is making a difference, particularly at 800 and 1500 metres. So we're looking at times and we're getting really blown away by them, but it's just resetting the marker more than anything. The same athletes, the quickest athletes, are still and should still win. And we're going to see Keely Hodgkinson in the final, but the final of the semi-finals here. But Gemma Ricci, for me, I mean, she will be gutted, absolutely gutted. She was gutted last time round to be 9,000 off a medal in Tokyo, finishing fourth. But to come here and not give herself a chance to get into the final, I just don't know. Daguma did that to her in the World Indoors in Glasgow, and yet again she didn't take the race by the scruff of her neck. They went through in 56.5 seconds, and she wasn't able to kick off that. She just wasn't able to react. Such a shame.
Everyone's running on the same track. So everybody is pitting themselves against each other. And you said it earlier with our great coverage from the pool on the last day of action here in Paris. It's the competition, it's the racing, it's the sprinkling of the Olympic stardust. So yes, track technology is moving on like shoe technology is. And we had this conversation, didn't we, Colin, about this track and how's it going to affect the hurdlers, the world's best Grant Holloway. Is he going to like it? Is he going to not? But it's part of our sport now, isn't it? But you still just go out and race whoever's next to you in the lane.
Absolutely, there's no doubting about it. This is the way athletics is at this particular moment in time. If you want to be one of the best, you have to deal with all the circumstances. And most of those circumstances are bringing bonuses. You so articulately explained it. National records, season's best. You know, we're seeing all this on this track in the place where it matters, the stadium of the Olympic Games. And so for us as viewers, as onlookers, we can just marvel with the beauty of our sport and what it's providing us.
But I thought it was interesting the way that Catherine phrased that question, because she said you have to deal with them whether they benefit you or not. And sometimes those changes that we might from the outside be looking at and thinking, well, it's a fast track, the shoe technology has moved on, this is going to be great for the athletes. So what can go wrong in terms of those advancements?
Right, so let's Kath brought up the hurdles. My event, so I can talk a little bit better on it. So what it can end up being is throwing you onto a barrier when you're, for example, the track is not one that you're used to training on. So your timing, your rhythm is slightly out. And when your timing, your rhythm is slightly out, it can cause all sorts of problems. This morning, Daniel Roberts, a man who's gone 12.9, struggled to run 13.4, and I think all that was down to his timing and his rhythm. So that's what it can, and when we talk about how it can affect you, and that was one blatant way you can see it visually.
So sometimes maybe the better you are, the worse the effect is going to be.
Absolutely. You're tall and rangy, all of a sudden in high hurdles you get shoved onto the barrier, and if you're not technically efficient, it's going to cause a whole heap of problems, especially from hurdle 4 to 7, and we witnessed that today.
But we are seeing fast times, as you say, in this semi-final stage of the women's 800 metres, and we've got Keely Hodgkinson coming. Alison, she says she feels the best she's ever felt. She said she's coming into these Olympics just feeling fantastic, which, I mean, obviously I don't think there's a downside to that.
No, absolutely not. And she's had to learn by I was going to say suffering, but getting a silver's not suffering. You know, she's had so many attempts.
She does have that bridesmaid tag, and it must really drive her up the wall.
Yeah, and it does. It really does. Not just at Commonwealth Games level, world level, Olympic level, but to do all of that in this short space of 3 years is just, I mean, it's phenomenal. And she's just in her purple patch right now, and there's never going to be a better chance to take a title than here.
She's on the track, she's ready. The world leader, Keely Hodgkinson, swaying from side to side in lane number 6. This is the final semi-final of the women's 800 metres. The final is tomorrow night. She is ready to go, and as we've been discussing, is in the form of her life. She's now the 6th fastest athlete ever over 800 metres with a 1:54.61 clocking. She's the European champion this year when she was unwell. Keely Hodgkinson is so good now, she can win major titles when she's not even 100%. She's got some good athletes, though, in this semi-final. Akins of the USA, 2 times their national champion, goes in this one, starting in lane number 8. Under 2 minutes to qualify for this semi-final as well. But nobody can see past Keely Hodgkinson this year to potentially upgrade the silvers we've just been talking about. 2 world silvers, a Commonwealth silver, the 22-year-old being the bridesmaid. She's had enough of it. We talk about it drives her nuts. It's what drives her on. And now she's 1 race away from another Olympic final. She starts in lane number 6. She looks cool and calm as always, Alison. Can anybody stop Keely Hodgkinson in Paris becoming an Olympic champion?
I really honestly don't think they can. I think in the same way that we'll be talking about Josh Kerr and Jakob Ingebrigtsen later on, with this lady, there's no one that you would put that can throw something at her that she could not react to. Whether it's someone that takes it out hard, she's learned her trade by failing to get on top of the podium. And every time she's not done that, she's learned something from it, corrected it with her training group, with her coaching, setup in Trevor Painter and Jenny Meadows. And we saw it this year in Eugene when she absolutely obliterated the British record and then went and did it again in London at the Diamond League just 2 weeks ago.
To put it into context, Keely Hodgkinson was just introduced to the crowd, by the way, and she looks a little bit nervous to me. But she's ready to go, but she still looked a little bit nervous. To put it into context, 1:54.61 for Hodgkinson that starts in lane number 6. Now trying to become the only Briton that would be in the women's 800 metres final tomorrow. Everybody else in this field has a season's best over 3 seconds slower. She goes to the line. A slight lean forward. And Keely Hodgkinson is one race away from making the Paris Olympic final. Which way is Keely Hodgkinson going to run this? Because she has the speed, she has the endurance, she has the experience. And my day, she's got the talent, and she's going out and she's taking this out, Alison. She's going to cut down on the back straight in the lead in this third and final semi-final.
Yeah, she's just wanting to stay out of trouble. She doesn't want to get clipped. She doesn't want to get stuck in the pack. She's taken a time to get to the front. She's made up the stagger and she's found herself right on the rail, 250 metres in, looking very comfortable, leading the field with the Swiss athlete Pelot right on her shoulder, and Nia Aikens, training partner of Josh Kerr in the United States colour, well back at this point.
Keely Hodgkinson leads this semi-final, the bouncing on her chest of her 2 chains, the dark blue of the British kit, the long ponytail separated by bobbles in segments. She goes through in 57.47 seconds. She has a 2-metre lead on Almanza, who's in second place behind her, the national champion from Cuba. But this is good from Hodgkinson, controlling this semi-final like an orchestra. This is wonderful from the world leader.
The word there that you use, Kath, control. That's exactly what Keely Hodgkinson is doing. Sektor Godisa is now moving into second place for South Africa, but it's still Keely Hodgkinson just biding her time, enjoying stretching the field out, and she's starting to wind it up as well.
Keely Hodgkinson kicks on a little bit more. She hasn't totally got rid of the South African Sek Godoso, but it's not going to be a problem, I can guarantee you. No, here she goes. She looks up at the big scoreboard. The South African's got nothing more to give. I don't think the world's got anything more to give this year. Keely Hodgkinson now wins by 10 metres in a time of 1:56.86 seconds. Once again, absolutely outstanding from Keely Hodgkinson. That's one of the fastest times in the world this year, and she wasn't out of third gear, Alison.
Wow, 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 wow. And Sek Godiso is jumping up and down, gives her a big hug. Keely Hodgkinson now walks around, shakes the hand of all of the other athletes. She is so in control. She is loving her time here. And that final cannot come soon enough.
So impressive, Kelly. That final tomorrow night, just before 9 p.m. UK time. Join us on BBC 5 Live, because we promise you that is going to be an outstanding race. Whichever way it goes, it's going to be a brilliant race. We have one Briton in the women's 800-metre final tomorrow, and it just happens to be the world leader and the 6th fastest of all time.
Alison, I heard you and Kath talking about Keely Hodgkinson after her heat, and saying the big question was how she was going to approach the race tactically, because she has options, because she's running so well. Did we get a clue from her semi-final as to how she might approach the final, or could she switch it up?
I think she'll do something special. I think she'll come here and want to do something special. She'll want to put a show on, but at the end of the day, she wants to win the gold. She does not want to...
Look at my face. She wants to... What do you mean? Wish she put a time above an Olympic gold? Look at Colin. Colin nearly fell off his chair, Alison, when he said, what's something special?
Then, she didn't need to put the burners on, but she did it because she's feeling it. She's like... it's like almost just putting the reins on her, because she's dying to just let rip.
How is she going to run the final then?
She'll just go...
Tell me what Trevor Painter and Jenny Meadows is going to say to her, because she can win this final any which way she likes, Mo Farah style.
It's almost
How's
like...
she going to do it?
Well, it's almost like, everybody else will be stood behind their blocks, or so it's stood on the start line, trying to work out how Keely's going to do it, which straight away they've already given it to her. In the same way when people used to line up against Michael Johnson and, Rogers, my silver is my gold. But people will have already hung the gold round her neck. And yes, it's dangerous. Of course it is. She's still got to run the race. But I think to be, and look, Colin is better placed to talk about being in a favourite tag. But she's actually enjoying the favourite tag. She loves racing. Keely does not get scared of racing. That's when she's at her happiest place.
Yeah, there's two ways to take it, aren't there? You either take all the pressure on your shoulders, or you grow under all the expectation. And she looks like she feels... I don't understand the technique or the tactics or any of that. I'm just watching on. But she just has that aura of an athlete who knows she is at the top of her game.
And that's going to be very important. The key thing for Keely is for her to only believe in herself and her capabilities and ability. Don't worry about anybody else, and have that real faith in what you've been doing, how your training's been going, how I've raced all year, and realise I've done 800 metres forever and ever, and I'm ready to do it here on this big occasion. If she holds herself together with a time of 1:54, what we know she's already run, I can't see anybody taking that from her. But this is the Olympic Games, and yesterday in the decathlon we would have never called Marcus Root to take the title. So we cannot hang medals on people's neck.
We can't hang them round just yet, but Alison Kerber, she's very confident. When she said she's going to do something special, I could see Catherine, because she's sitting over to my right-hand side. You're to my left, so I couldn't see your face, but I could sense you shift in your chair. Is it tempting fate?
It's because it's the Olympic Games, and anything can happen. You know, people are going to go into that race and they're going to try harder than they've ever tried before, and that could always upset the apple cart. Keely went through in 57 seconds there. There's people who can go through in 55, and that can create all sorts of different things that you weren't expecting. So Keely's just got to keep her wits about her and run her race. Do not get distracted with anything else. She's the best in the world. That's what she's here to do, to win this title.
Every time that she's been beaten, whether it be by Athing Mu or Mary Morrow, she hasn't had the ability to react to their race. She has had the plans because she's a very intelligent racer. But this year we've just seen another level. She's learned how to race, and she's learned how to get the best out of herself.
Talking of another level, going on tonight is the women's high jump final. There's a new world record in this event. Yaroslava Mahuchik from Ukraine went over 2 meters and 10 this season. And the roar that is about to go up is for the only other athlete left in the competition. Nicola Oleschlagers of Australia has gone over 2 meters at the third time of asking, the same height as Yaroslava Mahuchik. The bronze medal has been shared already between Patterson of Australia and Gerashenko of Ukraine. We are battling for the gold medal at the Olympics with the new world record holder Mahuchik, who went over 2 meters at the first time of asking, and Nicole Oleschlagers has now stayed at the party with her 2 meter clearance. They'll go up to 2:02 next. And always, what Nicola Oleschlagers does, the Australian, you'll like this, Kelly, she writes in her notes after every single jump in a book. She sits on the bench that the high jumpers sit on, and she writes a little note on what was good, what can I do better, and keeps track. When me and Alison follow it and we love it, it's like, where's the book? She's forgotten the book. Oh, everybody calm down, no panic, the book's here. Nicola's going to write in the book.
It's a new book every season, Kelly, and everyone's just transfixed on what she writes in the book.
Oh, that's going to be worth a fortune one day, isn't it? The thoughts of Oleschlager, isn't it?
Yeah. It is, yeah. I mean, she might publish them.
Yeah.
You know, the letters, the diary.
Or use them to coach. That's what she could do.
I mean, obviously, that would be the sensible thing, but I quite like... I'm not sure it would be a page-turner.
No, but I'm just saying, imagine you have that.
Sleep.
But you have that to give to somebody.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
Could write your own checks as a coach then.
It is just, she's so meticulous, and look, she sit and talk to herself, because she's now just covered herself in a silk blanket. She's a real character. But yeah, we love it when it comes down to two athletes of the highest caliber, and of course Mahuchik is trying to do it for a nation in Ukraine, and nobody would discount that. Look at the clearances, look at the card that she's got, but what a battle she's having.
What a battle she's having, wrapping herself in a silk blanket on Self-Care Sunday, where the world record has been broken in the women's high jump. We've still got the men's 1500 metres semi-finals and the men's 100 metre final to come at 10-9. First, though, it's time for the BBC News with Stuart Clarkson.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The Prime Minister has condemned the violent disorder that's erupted across a number of towns and cities since the murder of 3 young girls in Southport on Monday. Sir Keir Starmer said he would not shy away from describing it as far-right thuggery. There was further disorder this afternoon. In Middlesbrough, protesters smashed windows of cars and houses and threw bricks at police. And in Rotherham, hundreds of demonstrators there clashed with riot police before storming a hotel housing asylum seekers. This woman was among those taking part in the protest.
I want change. I want illegal immigration to stop.
What do you make of what's happened in the last couple of hours, all this violence?
Absolutely barbaric. Unbelievably, it's traumatic. It's. I ain't got no words. I'm sorry. I have got no words to describe this behaviour. This is not what we're here for.
Well, South Yorkshire Police says at least 10 officers were injured during the violence today in Rotherham, with one left unconscious after a head injury. The National Police Chiefs Council says 147 arrests have been made so far since last night. Senior officers say disinformation on social media is partly to blame for driving the violence across the country. Also tonight, the Foreign Office has temporarily withdrawn the families of British diplomats in Lebanon because of fears of a wider conflict between Israel and the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah. The government had already told UK nationals to leave the country immediately. That's the 5 Live News for now. Stephen Nolan on from 10 o'clock tonight with more reaction to today's violence, including in Rotherham, Bolton and Middlesbrough.
5 Live Breakfast
with Rachel Burden and Rick Edwards.
I didn't want to just pass by the fact that you've come into work in your slippers this morning.
Yeah, just looked down and thought, I'm comfy today. What's going on? Oh, okay.
Have you come across Pommel Horse Guy? He basically had one job in the team event and he absolutely smashed it. It says from Sam, absolutely sick that America brought Pommel Horse Guy, whose sole purpose in life is to ball out on the pommel horse. He pommeled the heck out of that horse. Long live Pommel Horse Guy.
5 Live Breakfast.
Listen weekdays from 6
on BBC Sounds.
The Olympic Games, Paris 2024.
With Kelly Cates.
On BBC Radio 5 Live.
You join us at the Stade de France, where there is a fantastic night of athletics underway. Already we've seen Keely Hutchinson looking fantastic in the women's 800 metres semi-final. Final, of course, still to come tomorrow. The men's 100 metres semi-final. No Louis Hinchcliffe in the final. No Zarnell Hughes, but the times look good and we could be set for an absolute blockbuster at 10-9 if you want to follow that one. Matt Hudson-Smith also looking good in the men's 400 metres heat this evening, and we'll keep you up to date with everything that happens as he progresses to the semi-finals there. But the men's 100 metres to come then at 10-9. Before that, from one huge British medal hope in Keely Hodgkinson to another, Josh Kerr goes in the 1500 metres semi-final next. Catherine Merry, just before we check in on ahead of the 1500 metres, so a quick word on what's going on in the high jump, because I know you've been following all the drama in there. It's been a fantastic night and the crowd are loving it.
Yeah, 80,000. Now the sun's gone down. The bright lights here of the Stade de France are really standing out and making this venue look as beautiful as it has done on every single night before. This women's high jump final was always going to be fascinating because Yaroslava Mahuchik, the Ukrainian, set a world record earlier this season of 2 metres and 10. She had one hand on the gold medal because she cleared 2 metres at the first time of asking, but then Nicola Olli-Schlagers, the Australian, also went over 2 metres at the third time of asking. And they're now on to 2 metres and 2 centimetres. They've both felled this new height on one each occasion. But at the moment, Mahuchik is in the gold medal position because she went over 2 metres at the first time of asking. To be continued.
To be continued, and we'll keep you up to date with everything that happens in that one. But we are not far away from the start of the first of the men's 1500 metres semi-finals. And this one is, I think the phrase is stacked, Kath.
I'd say stacked. What do you say, Al? Loaded?
Everything.
Stacked, loaded, stacked race. Any word you can imagine this semi-final. The first 3 only go forward. This is amazing. Josh Kerr, the sunglasses are on. It looks like he's had a fresh haircut on his beard and his head. And the world champion steps forward alongside his teammate George Mills. alongside the defending champion Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Oh, everybody stand down. The starters called them back from the line. This is stacked because Jakob Ingebrigtsen lost 2 world titles over this distance in the last couple of years to British athletes. In 2022 to Jake Whiteman, to 2023 to Josh Kerr. The camera focusing on the pink bib of Ingebrigtsen. This could be a final. Let's go. The men's 1500 metres, semi-final number 1. George Mills is in this semi-final after getting through the repechage. And Josh Kerr, in the sunglasses, Alison, the dark blue British kit, has gone straight to the front of this semi-final. And as usual, he's looked over his left shoulder. Jakob Ingebrigtsen's at the back. He's just looked over his left shoulder as he goes around the first bend to check that there's nobody behind him.
Just to make sure that he's at the back. His tactic is clearly, I'm going to be at the back. Look, we knew that that's exactly what would happen. I think the difference in Jakob Ingebrigtsen as opposed to Josh Kerr is Josh is in his nature to want to win a semi-final, whereas Jakob Ingebrigtsen will happily finish 4th, 5th, 6th, as long as he's in that top 6. He's now making a move though, Kath. He's swung round the outside and he's just deciding that he's going to get on the shoulder of Cole Hocker and Josh Kerr, and no, he's going to go at the front.
Oh, here we go. This is a bit of a change of pattern from the Norwegian superstar. Jakob Ingebrigtsen has swung into the front, and guess who's keeping an eye on him? Britain's Josh Kerr, currently sitting in 3rd place, sneaking himself onto the shoulder nearly of Jakob Ingebrigtsen. The Ethiopian, though, paying close attention as well. A little bit of pushing and shoving there, Alison, from Josh Kerr. This is now getting strung out. Norway leading, Ethiopia in 2nd. Josh Kerr, the British world champion, just ahead of Hocker, the American.
Yeah, have no fear. Jakob Ingebrigtsen will have done his homework on every one of the guys in this field. He races them so often. He knows that if he makes it quick, the Ethiopian Germa might not be able to stick with him. Well, he really has injected pace into this race now. Look at it. It's strung right out. You've got Josh Kerr sitting on the shoulder of the Ethiopian Germa. Cole Hocker of America sitting on his shoulder. George Mills sitting right at the back. And don't forget, he's had an extra race because he had to come through the repechage.
A reminder, it's the first 6 in each of these semi-finals that go to the final tomorrow. Down the back straight, Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Josh Kerr following every single move. The American now is going into 3rd place. There's about 1.5 meters between the top 3 athletes in this first semi-final. And Jakob Ingebrigtsen saying to Josh Kerr, listen, if you want to get past me, you can do it, but I want to control this race. And they swing onto the purple track home straight here in the Stade de France. Jakob Ingebrigtsen looking up at the screen, as you would expect from the European record holder who's run 3:26. But Josh Kerr will not let him go. The bell goes.
2:38 at the bell, and he's just winding it up. That's why it's stretching out. And Josh Kerr's saying, no, I'm still here, mate. I'm still here. They do not want to show all their cards now, but you know they can't help it. It's in their veins. They love racing. Jakob Ingebrigtsen with Josh Kerr on his shoulder. Cole Hocker from America. A bit of a gap. And then we've got Coleman of Kenya.
200 metres to go. They've strung out here. Jakob Ingebrigtsen holding the inside line. This is going to be so interesting. Who's going to win this semi-final? No medals are given out here, but who's going to get the psychological advantage going into the final? Jakob Ingebrigtsen still leads, looking up at the screen. Josh Kerr on his shoulder, has a little glance at the Norwegian. Hocker is trying to get between 2 of them in 3rd. Nicely done by Jakob Ingebrigtsen, 3:32.38 in the first semi-final. Nicely done by Josh Kerr, the world champion as well, automatically through. They don't look at each other, they just look up at the screen. Well, Jakob Ingebrigtsen's given us a double thumbs up and given himself a clap, Alison.
Can you believe they didn't shake each other's hand and say, well done? We love it. This is exactly what we've wanted. The clash of the titans. Jakob did surprise me. I didn't think he needed to do that. He's also doing the 5,000 metres. So I thought that he would have just wanted to reserve something, and he didn't. He thought, no, you know what, I'm going to make it a little bit hard. I'm going to make it a little bit spiky. It is going to be such an exciting final.
It's Alison Kirbishley, Catherine Merry and Colin Jackson is with us as well. It's going to be so exciting. And watching that game of cat and mouse between them across the whole 1,500 metres, you just wonder how much of it is gaining a psychological advantage? How much of it is not wanting to give too much away? How much gamesmanship there is going on there because of the history between them?
Oh, big time. And if you look at the time, certainly for Jakob there, 3:32.38. Now, you must remember he's run 3:26 this year, and that's nearly 6 seconds quicker than that. So we know what he's capable of doing. But, of course, he's trying to manage his way through this whole championships because he's got a 5K, as Alistair said, a 5K that he has to contend with as well. He wants to really beat Josh Kerr in this 1,500 metres. He feels that he has the ability, but I think it generally hurt him to lose the title last year at the World Championships. So I'm thinking he's really switched on to just try and prove to himself and the rest of the world what he can do. We all know he can run fast. We all know he can win titles. He's done it before. But now, boy, oh boy, oh boy, it's going to be what I would describe in Wales as a tasty final.
I can't wait for it. And look, if the semi-final was that tense and that exciting, it is all set up for fun. Obviously, you know, as Colin was saying, we know both of them can go faster than that. But there is just that sense of, because what Jakob Ingebrigtsen has said about Josh Kerr is, well, it's hard for him to be a rival when I never really race him because he never turns up. And he talks about him as this kind of ghost competitor with him. And it's so when they actually do get to race each other, it's interesting to see what he wants to get out of that and what he will have learned that, particularly because, as you pointed out, he's such a student of the other racers.
Yeah, and you know, I think the beauty of when we get to the final, we've still got to see another semi-final run. There's another 6 men that are going to progress into this final, but you know, the 2 that are after the top medal we've just seen without doubt. And I think, you know, earlier in the week we heard Crammy talking with Chappers on 5 Live about this mouth-watering head-to-head, and the fact that everyone knows what Jakob's going to do. He's going to do what we've just seen there because it's the only way he can win. You know, he doesn't have a change of pace off a slow race. He has to make it hard, and he hasn't got any pacemakers. He hasn't got wave lights. He hasn't got anyone that's going to help him. And Josh Kerr knows that. So everybody else has just got to line up and get ready to see what Jakob Ingebrigtsen does. And Jakob's just got to run quick. That's what he's going to do. And it's just going to be fantastic to watch.
And Josh Kerr is a details man. He leaves no stone unturned. This is the guy that last year at the World Championships in Budapest wore the exact same style of kit that Jake Whiteman had beaten Jakob Ingebrigtsen for the world title in 2022 in. Psychologically, to remind him that last time you saw a British athlete wearing this kit, my friend, they beat you to the world title. He's so attention detailed. It's going to be a brilliant final. We've got one more semi-final to come. Just to wrap it up as well, George Mills finished in 11th place in that semi-final with a 3:37 clocking. And just to wrap up as well, Kelly, if it's okay, the brilliant women's high jump final. Nicola Ollie-Schlagers, the Australian, had 3 failures at 2:02, so she's confirmed in the silver medal position. But Mahuchik has had 2 failures at 2:02 in the women's high jump final, and looks like she's called it a day. So Ukraine potentially has got the gold medal unless she continues with one more attempt at a new height. And as you've already got the gold medal in the bag, Kelly, as Olympic champion, and you may have an option, why not?
Why not indeed? And we'll let you know if she does decide to exercise that option. In the meantime, let's hear from Josh Kerr. He's with Sarah Mulkerrins.
Well, Josh, how much of that was a dress rehearsal for the final?
Yeah, I think I thought that was about what it would take. Just want to get the leg spinning a bit more, get myself in a higher position, which was the goal, and then just relax, really.
How much do you plan for yourself, but then when you're also in a semi-final with Jakob, plan for what he might do?
I mean, it's top 6 in a race of 12 people. I'm here to do a lot better than that, so it's having the right mindset coming in and also making sure that you're giving the respect to the competition. So.
And how are you managing yourself through the rounds? You're feeling good?
Yeah, I feel great. Felt really good at 32 today. I'll be interested in the splits, but other than getting in trouble with how much media I did last couple of days ago, it's been pretty smooth.
That was Josh Kerr talking a little bit earlier on. Catherine Merry.
Yeah, and on the start line, there we go. Let's let the gun go, shall we? The second semi-final of the men's 1,500 metres. This field of 12 athletes trying to follow literally in the footsteps of Jakob Ingebrigtsen and Josh Kerr and get themselves into the men's Olympic 1500 metre title. And Neil Gorley, if not North, Neil Gorley is in this one, Alison, the 2023 European indoor silver medalist, looking to make the final. And this one looks maybe a little bit quicker to me than the first semi-final.
Yeah, I think Yared Nuguse didn't look great for me in the first round, the American medalist from the World Championship. So he's come out here and he's decided, I'm going to take this race exactly like Ingebrigtsen did, and I'm going to take it and wind it up from the front. We've got the French hopes in Habs, but Neil Gorley will like this. He likes a race that's been managed and given a fast pace from the off. He's had a torrid time of injury, missed the World Indoors in his home city of Glasgow and his home nation of Scotland, and that really did hurt him. But he's got himself back here and he really is desperate to make a final.
It's 3 seconds quicker than the first semi-final, 57.2 for Nuguse at 400 metres. There's about 12 metres separating this whole field. Keeping an eye on Neil Gorley, the British athlete, currently in third place on the curve. Habs, the French athlete, as Alison said, in the mix, but Yared Nuguse, the American, has had battles with Ingebrigtsen and Josh Kerr, of course, over the last couple of years, leading this one out, this second semi-final. A reminder, the top 6 only get into the men's 1500 metre final. The American is happy to take this one around, Alison.
He really is, and he's looking a completely different athlete. Oh, he just looked like he stood on the curve there and looked like he was a little bit off balance, but it's very much Nuguse's race. He's leading this down the back straight with Tefera of Ethiopia kind of vying for that inside track. Neil Gorley still enjoying the ride with Habs sitting on his shoulder, but look at the other man, the danger man, Hobbs Kessler, only 21 years old. He has a tendency to panic a little bit when he's sitting on the curb, but he's also looking very, very comfortable there in fourth, well, sitting on the shoulder of Habs of France to 4th and 5th place.
A little bit more daylight now between the second semi-final runners. Nuguse with a 1 metre lead. Neil Gorley perfectly placed at the bell, the British athlete in second place, comfortably in an automatic qualifying position, looking to join Josh Kerr in this men's 1500 metre final. They're going to go down the back straight for the final time. Nuguse leads. Neil Gorley gritting his teeth, his shoulders are starting to rock and roll a bit.
Yeah, keep an eye out for the young 19-year-old wearing the orange vest, young Niels Laros. I think he could be a danger man. He's starting to make his move there. Nordas, the Norwegian, we still haven't seen him, the bronze medalist from the World Championships. He's got to get in that top 6.
Nuguse leads, he's got 1.5 meters, he's gritting his teeth, the American, he's led this one out, can he hold on? Neil Gorley still in second place, Kessler the American in third. Neil Gorley rocking and rolling a bit more, he knows the traffic's going to be coming behind him. The American Kessler goes on the inside, but the British athlete Neil Gorley's going to come home in third and qualify for the men's 1500 metre Olympic final along with his teammate Josh Kerr.
Neil Gorley is an Olympic finalist. How good does that sound? That was so smooth. Well done, and he better go and thank Yared Nuguse for that, because Yared Nuguse made that race a perfect one for him. It was almost like having a pacemaker from gun to tape, and he just got on the train. He got on the Nuguse train, and he's in the final.
1500 metres final.
Absolutely fantastic, brilliant to see. You know, this was an event that Britain dominated in the past, and it's good to see that we've got quality athletes, world champions, who are capable of shining once again. This is going to be, you know, I already described it as that tasty final, didn't I? But this is just adding to the mix, aren't they? You know, this is like when you're making a cake, you decided not to have a sponge, I'm going to make it a bit fruity. So it's great to see what's happening here. Brilliant to see.
Absolutely fantastic. And Neil Gorley, less expected to do well than Josh Kerr. Of course, there was so much expectation on him. So fantastic that he's made the final. But there's a really tasty final coming up at 10-9 tonight. It's the men's 100 metres, Colin. And this one, all right, there's no British interest, but that doesn't mean there's no interest in it. This is going to be fantastic.
Oh, this is most possibly the fastest 100 metre lineup we've seen. When you think of the times that didn't qualify, 996, 997, 998, 10 flat, was not quick enough to get into this final. And what's good for me to see, that we've got so many former champions in. We got the defending champion making final, but stuck out in lane 9, not good enough to get one of those centre lanes. We got Fred Curley there, a former world champion, coming back into form, 9.84, looking very, very strong. But I think the man he may just be holding it, is Thompson from Jamaica. He's looked so good, and I've witnessed him in the flesh in Jamaica run his 9.77. It was just incredible. He put his foot down when it was necessary, and from there on in, he was just literally looking around thinking to himself, well, what do I do now? And his coach told him only to go to 60. He just went to 60, and then he shut it down, and he defeated Oblique so easily in those Jamaican championships. So for me, is it going to be a Jamaica 1-2? We haven't seen that in the Olympic Games for some time. It could happen today. What happened to Noah Lyles, everybody says? He's the world champion. But do you know what? This is a different year. It's an Olympic season, and we've got 2 Jamaicans who arrived here with a mission.
So, you have gone for Kashane Thompson. Now, are you in Steve Backley's sweep?
I am in Steve Backley's sweep.
And have you gone for Thompson in his sweep?
I have gone for him in his sweep.
Alison Kirbishley, who have you gone for?
Oh, we've shown our cards now, are we?
It's gone in, hasn't it?
I've gone Thompson as well.
Oh, well, so have I. I feel like I should
So have I.
Oh, we're going to have to share
it's
this
going to roll
sweetie
down to the
pot.
time. It's
What
going to roll
about
down
our
to the time.
producer? Who's she gone for?
She's gone for Kashane Thompson.
Oh, right.
300ths of a second faster than I have.
But you know what? Nobody tell Noah Lyles about our 5 BBC sweepstake, because that might give him the motivation that nobody in our group has picked him. Don't.
Kath, I wanted to ask you about Noah Lyles, about his personality and about his kind of chattiness ahead of finals, ahead of major championships. How much of it do you think is his personality, and how much of it do you think is a sort of Sasha Fierce style stage presence?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? And I know Noah reasonably well, and he's quite similar on the track as he is off it. He's a lively guy. He likes to speak, but I'm sure there must be a little bit of like, you know what, let me just give this big performance. Let me get into the mind of the other athletes. I'm not saying he wants to be like Usain Bolt, because nobody can be, but maybe, I don't know what Colin thinks, maybe over the time that Usain was dominating, he saw the showman and thought, well, that kind of worked for him. Do I need to maybe egg it up a bit more and say I'm going to do this and say I'm going to do that? And to be honest, I mentioned it in commentary, Kelly, Fred Curley, you know, our big ranch farmer who's got a farm and sheep and all the animals and loves it, which I wouldn't have put in a million years have guessed that would be the case. But he likes to have a word as well. So, you know, he can be a little bit chopsy when he's ready, but Noah's the best in the world. What do you reckon, Colin? Is he living it, you know, hamming it up a little bit?
Well, I think the big difference that we're having this year compared to last year is that when he was going into the World Championships, he was one of a few who could win the title, and he wasn't wearing the target. This year, he's made himself wear the target, so people are looking at him very differently, and he's decided to play up to be the person wearing the target. He's saying, well, look, I am the world champion, not just once, I've done the 200 as well. I can do it at the Olympic Games. But the athletes he's up against now are not necessarily listening to him, because if you want to wear the target, we'll rip it off your back. And that's the biggest difference I feel that it's going to be. He's not doing anything wrong. I mean, his performances are right up there. He's run a personal best in 100 this year. He's just 200th of his personal best in that semi-final. He is running well. But now, as I say, the people are not listening to him. The people who want to put one over on him are happy, as I say, to tear it down.
There's a lot of people who would be very, very happy if he didn't win tonight. And I think it was such a good question, Kelly, because I do see him almost take on a different persona. He loves his anime. He loves his Japanese cartoons. He's got his own, you know, and that kind of, that hand down the face with his tongue out, that's, you know, grabbing the ball of flame. He plays all of that, and he likes that. He loves this character that he's created. You know, one of his lines was, I'm always going to win, or, you know, he's got the lines that he just keeps throwing out. When I'm on the track, of course I'm going to win. And so everybody loves it when somebody fails. and has spoken so highly of himself.
Everybody loves a showman, and everybody loves when a showman slips up, don't they? That's the problem for Noah Lyles, but it's going to be absolutely fantastic, and that is coming up at 10 tonight, so about 20 minutes time. Colin, been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming up to chat to us.
Lovely, thanks for the invite.
Enjoy it. 20 minutes to go. We've all got time just to get our nerves to relax a little bit. We've got time to prepare. The athletes have got time to prepare. The men's 100 metres final is 20 minutes away. Earlier this evening, Team GB ended their campaign in the swimming pool for this Olympic Games. The men's 4x100 metre relay medley team finished outside the medals as China took gold, USA silver, France bronze. After the race, all of Team GB spoke to Sharon Davis.
Ollie, it was going to be a tall order, but you certainly tried. You really did.
Yeah, happy with that. I think that's my fastest this week. So, yeah, to be stepping up on day 9 and producing that is, really, really happy with that. But we'd like to win in the medals, but it's a tough field, and I'm sure we'll be back.
Absolutely. First Olympics for you. So much experience that you've gathered.
Yeah, for sure. Seeing all the support that we get from back home and here as well. There's countless GB flags around the arena. So, it's really happy to be stepping up with these 3 boys, and
Not first Olympics for you, and somewhere you dug up a 58.1.
I mean, that's just my spirit. I said, I'm going to forget the body. I woke up today, I didn't even care what I wake up with today because I'm fed up with it, but I saw these boys this morning. We all went to the pool together, got a good meal, and I was like, this is where it matters to be, what I've trained for the last decade, to do what I shouldn't be able to do, and I'm really happy. I mean, that's my only swim this whole games where I've been pretty happy with the outcome because of certain circumstances, but that's sport, and unfortunately our sport, we only really have to find a peak every 4 years, truly, and if you miss it by 1 week, which I have due to my illness, you can't just throw your toy out the pram. You've just got to find a way, and I think I couldn't have swum it better. I just stuck on Nick, took him out on that first 50, and
we were getting a bit scared the way he went off in that first 50.
And I got scared myself a little bit. I was like, oh no, it's going to be the worst fall off, but I proved to myself that just stay calm, get the stroke done, and thankfully my chest was there this time. So it's unfortunate that it's come this late, but it's fortunate that I could get it this late, I guess.
Duncan, incredibly busy week for you. You're always a stalwart for our relay teams. That fly was hard work, wasn't it? But still a great split.
Yeah, totally. It's tough going against the best in the world anyway. But when it's a slightly off event, it's probably a little bit harder. But look, I did what I could in there. A really good field. Next to Dressel and plenty of others. But look, just a really nice way to finish the meet for me. I always really enjoy getting together with the boys for the relays, and we all finished ourselves in there, and I think we can all hold our heads high. We've all had great meets in our own right, and I think the British team, maybe we've had quite a few fourths and some unlucky touches, but as a whole, I think we can be incredibly proud with how we've done.
If I remember rightly, we had a lot of fourths in Rio, and look what we did when we came back in Tokyo. So we turned those into medals. I'm sure we'll do that again.
Already talking about LA, great. Yeah. Forget about Paris.
Exactly.
Done. It's done. Yeah.
Exactly. For you, a fantastic week as well. I was sat down doing some sums today. 3 of our silver medal times, if you add what we lost by, it comes to less than 1/10 of a second from golds to silvers, including one of yours. I mean, it's been an amazing week, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I don't think I could walk away from this and say it's been necessarily what I wanted to walk away with, but it's my second Olympic Games. I've got an individual silver, another gold with the boys, some great experience in relays like that tonight with the other lads, and I can't walk away from anything but happy. There's so much to learn from, so much to move forwards with, and I've loved every minute, and that's the most important thing to me, is that every second of being here, being in the arena in this environment with these guys, it's just, I love every second of it. It's what I've always wanted to do since I was a little boy, and I think the longer I can keep doing that, the more the results will come in. We'll keep learning, keep moving forwards, and like you say, see what we can do in 4 years' time.
Adam, I'm going to give the final word to you. We don't know quite what's coming next, but it's over to you to close off the show from the swimming pool.
Just be grateful he just swam there. Come on.
I mean, I didn't know what you asked me there. I'm guessing to answer my own question, I think tomorrow's never promised, so why worry? I think if my heart wants it, and I'll absolutely sign that contract with myself to do it, but that may be a long way away. But I think I've got to step away from the sport, really, because it's just hurt too much this time. It really has.
And also what happens about Mel? So you'd have to change all of that setup as well, wouldn't you? And I know, please tell us how important she's been to you, and she's off to Australia.
Yeah, I mean, tonight I think it could have been emotional in terms of, you know, it was her last one with me, I think, in that sense, and it could have been my last one here. I don't know. I think for her, I think she's got an incredible future ahead of her, and the right talent that's going to hopefully head her way in Australia. You can't swim bad in Southport, you know, it's just an incredible pool, and she deserves it. She deserves to lead that programme. She deserves to give the best to them. I'm going to visit her in January. I'm going to take a month off of everything. But I don't know, Sharon, I don't really know what the answer is to...
I don't think you need to decide right now. You just take your time.
I don't, and you know, if my family needs me, my family needs me. If they don't,
we need
they want me to do it. I know. Yeah, I know. But it's, I don't know, you can't lie to your heart, and if the heart does want it, the heart doesn't want it, but we'll see. I'm going to enjoy today instead of worrying about tomorrow.
We're incredibly proud of all of you. Well done.
Thanks, cheers. Thank you.
That was Adam Peaty, Ollie Morgan, Duncan Scott and Matt Richards. And in the mix zone after the race, Peaty questioned China's victory, saying one of my favourite quotes that I've seen lately is that there's no point winning if you're not winning fair. Now this comes because two of the Chinese team, Shin Haiyang and Sun Jie-jun, are reported to be among the 23 Chinese swimmers who failed doping tests before the last Olympics. They weren't banned because China determined they had unintentionally ingested a contaminated substance. That decision wasn't challenged by the World Anti-Doping Agency, who cleared them to race here in Paris. The men's 100 metres final is on the way. It's coming up in just over 10 minutes' time. 4 medals for Team GB so far on day 9 of the Olympic Games. Silvers for golfer Tommy Fleetwood and Amber Rutter in skeet shooting. Bronze medals for Lottie Fry in dressage and gymnast Harry Hepworth in the vault. Novak Djokovic beat Carlos Alcaraz to take gold in the singles of the men's tennis. And we can hear from one of GB's medalists today. 20-year-old Harry Hepworth has become the first British man to win an Olympic vault medal. He just edged out teammate Jake Jarman to take bronze in the final earlier. Here he is with Betty Glover.
Harry, can you just explain to me how much it means to have this medal hanging around your neck?
This is, I don't know how many hours of training have gone into just this bit of metal here, but I'm so thankful for all the support I've had over the years, especially from my family. It's phenomenal.
How much does it mean?
It means the world to me. I've worked so hard for this for my entire career, and it's finally happened today. I don't even know what's happening.
Did you know that you've made a bit of history?
On the rings.
No, Great Britain have never won a medal on the vault before, men or women.
I had no clue about that. That's amazing.
Well, congratulations, because you've done it. How did you feel out there? Did you feel confident? Did you feel strong? Did you think you had it in you?
I was fairly calm because anything can happen on vault. It's always about the landing, so I kept myself composed and did what I always do.
And tell me about the people that you want to thank to get you through to this moment, because you talk about the hours that you've put in, but who's helped you get here?
My family, my grandma, my girlfriend's family. I don't know where I'd be without them. I definitely would not be here with this. So I'm eternally grateful for them.
And also, you competed in the rings final before this vault final as well. You must be knackered.
I am a bit tired. I'm all right, though.
You're cool as a cucumber, aren't you? Look, your first Olympics, you've won a medal. You must be so proud of yourself.
It's unbelievable. I'm so thankful for my coaches as well. They've put in so many hours for me to get here. I don't know how I'll ever repay them. I don't know how. This is Dave's birthday present, though. Yeah? He's not getting no more than this.
You're not keeping it?
No, I'm keeping it. He got to experience it with me.
He can have a photo of it to put on his wall, right?
Yeah, if he pays good money. Joking.
Harry, congratulations. Well done. You've smashed it.
Thank you so much.
That was Harry Hepworth after taking bronze on the vault earlier. Inside the Stade de France this evening, Matt Hudson-Smith progressed to the semi-finals of the men's 400 metres, looking very comfortable in the process. In the men's 1500 metres, Josh Kerr and Neil Gourlay progressed to the final after running well in their semi-finals. Josh Kerr in the same semi-final as Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Very interesting dynamic developing and continuing with those two athletes. In the men's 100 metres semi-final, there is going to be no Louis Hinchcliffe. He did beat Noah Lyles earlier on in the heat, but he didn't manage to get the time required to qualify for the final. Neither did Jarnell Hughes. The men's 100-metre final is coming up for you at 10-9, just 10 minutes away here at the Stade de France. Also earlier in the women's 800 metres semi-final, no Phoebe Gill in the final, no Gemma Reekie in the final, but Keely Hodgkinson cruised to victory. Here she is speaking to Sarah Mulkerrins.
Quick on the track, Keely, and quick up through the mix zone as well. You took control of that semi-final.
Yeah, definitely. I think you can't take any chances, and it gave me a good practice for tomorrow as well. But I just wanted to be safely qualified. Job done. Yeah, we're in the final now. Mission is on.
And from that performance, from the last two rounds, how are you feeling in terms of what you can achieve?
Yeah, well, I think I've said it all year. I really want to upgrade my silver. I think I'm in the best shape, physically, mentally, emotionally, to do that I have been ever. So I just hope that I can really put that together tomorrow, and let's see what we can do.
We wish you well.
Thank you.
The thoughts there of Keely Hodgkinson sounding as relaxed as she looked on the track earlier on. We are almost there. It is 9:41 in Paris. In about 8-9 minutes time, we're going to see the men's 100 metres final. It is the race to be the fastest man in the world, and they are putting some serious times on the board. Alison Kirbishley and Catherine Merrier are here looking forward to it. Alison, this is beautifully set up.
I think it is, because there really isn't an absolute Usain Bolt style favourite. There is an argument for at least 5 or 6 of these guys, not just to get a medal, but to win. And that's exactly what you want. We all sit back and let Kath have the hard work of having to call them home. Because it's going to be one definitely out the blocks. I think it's going to be the man that reacts the quickest, holds his head, keeps calm. If we can get an oblique Seville as calm as he was, then I think he could be the danger man. Kershawn Thompson, you know, he is such a powerful unit, very, very different athlete to Oblique Seville, who is almost slight compared to his countrymen. He's very much in the Louis Hinchcliffe style of raw power coming out of the blocks. And I think the fact that his coaching team decided to keep him back last year when he qualified for the World Champs, said he wasn't ready, he's very injury prone. And having seen how big he is, you can kind of relate to why he's had so many hamstring and muscle problems. But then when you look at the likes of Tobago from Botswana, you know, there's just an argument to be made for a lot of them, and I haven't even mentioned Noah Lyles, the world champion.
It's all right, he'll mention himself.
He will.
he makes plenty of noise for everybody in that. But look, he says, you know, with Noah Lyles, we talked about this kind of facade, and part of the, not facade, but the bravado that he has, and whether or not that was partly a facade, whether it was his innate personality. He has talked about his mental health issues. He says the Noah leading up to Tokyo was depressed. This Noah is not, and that's a dangerous Noah. However, earlier on today, when he was beaten by Louis Hinchcliffe, he said, well, I expected that everybody would just kind of let me run the race that I wanted to run, that everything would open up for me. That is not going to happen. Colin Jackson was with us earlier talking about the fact he now has a target on his back. He's not the fastest man in the world, but he is the one everyone wants to beat.
Yeah, and I think you know, he does come out with some lines, and sometimes you go, really? And it was a very odd statement to make, but I think because he's been so brash, to see one of the slowest times he's ran this year in the heat, he wouldn't have taken a lot of confidence from that. So he'll have had a lot of work to do with his coach Lance Bowman back in the warm-up track. He definitely came out and looked a better athlete in the semi-final. All of the athletes now are on the track, they're setting their blocks up, and then they will, once they're ready, they will get taken backstage again and then come in for that drama order, as we're used to seeing with the sprinters.
This is one of my favourite expressions that's being used, the drama order. It's the order in which everybody is introduced to the crowd. And for the men's 100 metres final, we have a DJ and everybody in the crowd. Now, I think that's the lights on. I thought for a second they had those glow-in-the-dark wristbands. Is that what they have? It's not phones, because they're not phone lights. This is a light show that's on their wristbands.
Yeah, I feel like I'm at a Coldplay concert. Yeah,
it's exactly what it looks like. It is, and they will dim the lights before these athletes come out. I mean, we sort of talk about Noah Lyles and say he's maybe, a bit of a showman. He maybe talks a bit too much, or he maybe is putting some of this on. But we want that from the men's 100-metre finalists. We want that level of drama when they come out, and this all adds up to it. And you have to be able to embrace this.
Yeah, 100%. You have to be able to hold your nerve. They've all now just set their blocks up and they're walking off the track. I don't know whether that's Fred Curley, who's one of the last to leave the arena. This man's done it before, the world champion, won a couple of years back in Eugene, and he's only the third quickest American lining up here tonight. So it's back to what I said. Oh, wow. Now that is
the
good.
lights are down and all the wristbands are lit up in purple, the same colour as the track here at the Stade de France. It looks fantastic as those wristbands begin to sparkle. And Catherine Merry just getting a light to her, because the darkness inside the stadium means it's a little bit tricky to see exactly what is going on in here. I mean, Alison, you talked about them setting up their blocks. They've been out and done that. They're being held up while we see this fantastic light show, while we build the drama inside the stadium. When they're setting up their blocks, what are they doing?
When they're setting up the blocks,
yeah, well,
how
do they set them up?
They'll come out, they'll have they usually either use their own feet to measure, or they'll have a little tape measure with them. They know their blocks position. They've done it so many times before. Do you know what? This stage, I mean, we didn't see it like this for the women. This is playing into Noah's territory. This is what he likes. And if he's going to deliver, he's got to deliver on this sort of stage, because it's absolutely orchestrated and set for him. We didn't see the razzmatazz of Noah Lyles in the semi-final. Will we see him now in the final?
And coming out now in drama order, the finalists of the men's 100 metres.
We are ready to go. The men's 100-metre final at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. The lights come back up, but we're still full of sparkle here around the Stade de France. Kenny Benarek has been introduced, the USA athlete, a world silver medalist over 200 metres. He'll line up in lane number 2. Oblique Seville gives us a smile and a wave, a lifetime best to qualify for this final of 9.81 seconds. He'll line up in lane number 6. Akane Sabine, is this the time the South African, who walks out with his hands to the sky, can potentially win an Olympic title? The lights are sparkling for the colours of every single nation being introduced. They've turned blue for Letsile Tobogo of Botswana. He'll start in lane number 8. 9.91 seconds to qualify for this final. The lights change to green. They could have chosen black, green or gold. For Kashane Thompson, he roars Noah Lyles style, the world leader. He'll start in lane number 4, 9.80 seconds to qualify for this final. The punch on his chest, the stars and stripes of Fred Curley. Silver in Tokyo. Looking back to some brilliant form to qualify for this final. He'll start in lane number 3. Noah Lyles isn't hanging around. He's not doing any dancing under the tunnel, but he's ran 30 metres down the track, roaring up the crowd. The rest of the field are thinking, what are you doing? I'm the world champion. I'm making sure you know I'm in this final. He'll start in lane number 7. Lamont Marcel Jacobs, the Italian. Now he's walking out smiling, taking the applause of the 80,000. The pink bib of the reigning Olympic champion will start in lane number 9. All the lights come back up. The final of the men's 100 metres. Noah Lyles is asking for some paper to be removed from his lane number 7. Who is the fastest man in the world? 8 athletes will have dreamt about winning gold and becoming Olympic champion, but only one man can. Will it be Jamaica? Will it be the USA? South Africa, Italy, or Botswana? Noah Lyles talking to himself. The plaited hair is on both the screens. Listen to the crowd react to the world 100-metre champion. He's pumping his chest. He's bouncing around like a boxer. His 2 American teammates, Fred Curley, is not interested in any games here. Benarek, Curley, Thompson, Sabine, Seville, Lyles, Tobogo and Jacobs. The talking stops. The final is here. Can Marcel Jacobs in lane number 9, who's got a huge roar from the crowd, defend his title? The plaits of Lyles, the pearls in his hair, the thick gold necklace of the world champion wants this Olympic title so badly. 3 Americans. 1 could get the biggest crown and the biggest title of all. And they're going to have to run very, very fast to do it. Those that are able are all standing up out of their seats in the Stade de France. The fans, the press, the friends and family of our Olympic finalists. Sabine in lane number 5. Dwarfed by Kashane Thompson, the world leader, in lane number 4. Dwarfed by Oblique Seville, the other Jamaican on his right-hand side in lane number 6. We're waiting patiently in Stade de France. The athletes are waiting patiently. The world is waiting patiently. But once again, the cameras are focusing on Noah Lyles. Can he become the Olympic champion as well as the world champion? Noah Lyles is looking to his left. Marcel Jacobs is looking to his left, because we're being made to wait for the men's Olympic 100-metre final. The fans are getting frustrated, and I can tell you, when I look at both the big screens, the athletes are getting frustrated as well. This is where you have to keep your cool. Kashane Thompson, the world leader, with 9.77 seconds, is looking at the ground, Alison Kirbishley. I've got to bring you in, because we've built it. They did the lights, we've introduced the athletes. I've tried to build up some tension with some good lines. And now we're having to wait for the men's Olympic 100-metre final.
I'm baffled. I have never seen.
Oh, now the crowd are booing.
Call to their blocks, Kath.
The final of the men's 100 metres. The helicopters above make the noise. Who is the fastest man in the world? The official is asking one of the athletes to put his hand behind the line. Kenny Benarek isn't quite in position. Here we go. 9 seconds, 1 gold medal. And we do get underway. Sabine out well, Thompson out well as well. Curley running well in lane number 2. Kashane Thompson of Jamaica's leading the men's 100-metre final. And it looks like the Olympic gold has gone to Jamaica. We will await confirmation for Kashane Thompson. The Olympic gold medal has gone to a photo finish between Kashane Thompson. Noah Lyles was trying to close on the Jamaican. Who's got the crown? Who's got the title? Who's got the bragging rights of the men's 100-metre Olympic champion? Noah Lyles of the USA is the Olympic champion. The USA are on top of the world. 9.79 seconds, the same time as Kashane Thompson for silver. Fred Curley from the USA picks up bronze. It looks like they've been separated by thousandths of a second for the biggest title in the world.
5,000th to be precise, Kath. Wow. Well, I tell you what, he embraced that Japanese anime, that cartoon fireball that he often shows us. And all of that was done in the last 10 metres. Fred Curley's the man that was showing the best form in the latter stages. Kashane Thompson erupted out of the blocks. He was absolutely flying and just tied up that big Jamaican man with those huge quads just tied up.
I tell you what, there's a lot of people, and I'm talking about experienced athletes in the broadcasting zone here, that are saying, I'm not really sure about that. And I'm not disagreeing with them. I need to look at the footage. As you said, Alison, it was a 5,000th of a second win for Noah Lyles. And it has come through in big blue letters on the screen, results official finale, which basically means that result is now official, and the Olympic champion is Noah Lyles. He has the title that he wanted. He runs round the track with his number ripped off in his hand. Wow, that was an outstanding race. And let me clarify this. That was the fastest men's 100 metres Olympic final ever. The fastest previously, when the top 5 went under 9.90 seconds in London 2012. The top 7 athletes have gone under 9.90 seconds. We've watched a replay on the big screen. Kashane Thompson was gritting his teeth. Kashane Thompson was straining. He was leaning for the Olympic gold. Noah Lyles lent better. His dip was perfection. That is why the gold goes to the USA. They last won it in 2004. It's the 17th time, Kelly, that the USA are the men's Olympic 100-metre champions. And he hugs his friends and his family, and he hugs his fiancée, Janelle Broomfield, down the back straight. What a final.
And that dip is why it didn't look as though Noah Lyles had crossed the line first. That's why, Catherine, when you're talking about all these experienced athletes around us here inside the commentary box who are looking and saying it didn't look like it was him, when you see it slowed down, when you see the dip, you can see that Noah Lyles is the Olympic champion. And when you look around this Stade de France and the wristbands are all lit up in red, white and blue, Noah Lyles, draped in the American flag, has been doing a lap, his lap of honour around the Stade de France. And that, Alison Kirbishley, is putting your spikes where your mouth is.
Oh, isn't it just? I said that to you. As soon as I saw this stage setting, it was absolutely made for Noah Lyles. You know, somebody has orchestrated this. I don't know whether they've used him and just said, right, how do you want it to pan out? And how long do you want behind the blocks? Because the longer that went on, the momentum was just going right into Noah Lyles' box. Everyone was getting restless. Kashane Thompson was pacing up and down. He was looking. He started fidgeting. And as soon as that happened, I think Noah Lyles would have just been... I mean, the way he came out and ran almost to 30 metres, burned every bit of adrenaline that he had, and then had to settle his heart rate back down as he got into the blocks. That was, I mean, he deserves that Olympic title for just what we've seen. And, you know, we talked about it last night, didn't we? Delivering your best at the time when it really matters. 9.79 personal best. That was phenomenal from him.
I'm going to repeat that stat again that I just said, because I've been involved in athletics for a long, long time. I've been involved in some of the biggest races that have ever taken place with my Sydney Olympic final. That is one of the most outstanding pieces of track and field I have ever seen, because 7 men, I'm saying it again, 7 men went under 9.90 seconds. It's collectively the fastest Olympic final ever. And to echo Alison, Noah Lyles deserves it. He was nearly last at 30 metres. You know what? He wanted it, didn't he?
Look what he's doing.
And
look what he's doing, Cal.
And I'll tell you now, he's going to ring the bell. Let's listen in. All aboard the Noah Lyles Olympic champion bus.
We're all getting on the express now, because he's there's Snoop Dogg.
Drop it like it's hot. That's what they're playing, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
If anyone could upstage the men's 100 metres Olympic champion, it would be Snoop Dogg, but he is giving him his time. He is giving Noah Lyles his time in the sunshine. He is the Olympic champion. He is now officially the fastest man in the world as the Olympic champion. He might not have run the fastest time in the world, but he is the fastest man in the world now, Alison. He can claim it.
When it matters, at 10 to 10 here in local time Paris, you know, he had to deliver, and you know, he's absolutely earned the gold medal that he'll get round his neck tomorrow.
He's done exactly what every athlete dreams of, Kelly. He's come to an Olympic Games, he's won the gold medal, and he's ran the fastest time of his life. 9.79 seconds is a lifetime best for the American. You cannot do any more than that, which is why Shane Thompson, who's got the silver for Jamaica, ran 9.79, but it was 200 slower than his lifetime best. He'll go back and think, could I have done more? He couldn't. And all I'm going to say is, if you're not a Noah Lyles fan now, and you weren't one before, you are definitely not going to be a Noah Lyles fan now that he's got all of the big G's in his house, because we're going to hear about this up until LA 2028 and beyond. And you know what? Quite rightly so as well.
Yeah, look, our sport needs this, and we really do need to cut through. And right now, the one thing that cuts through in America once every 4 years is the Olympic Games, and track and field in the Olympic Games, and the 100 metres, the men's 100 metres in track and field in the Olympic Games. And that will be huge headlines back in America. And 4 years away from LA, you know, this guy is just going to go on a journey that we're all going to enjoy, whether you like him or not. You're going to have to enjoy it.
Catherine Allison was saying, you know, we've talked about the sprint documentary that's available, where Noah Lyles is very much the star of the show there. It's very much kind of built around him. But it did feel, in the build-up to that men's 100 metres final, it felt like a documentary moment. Even from the minute he stepped out onto the track for the start of the race, he was bouncing, and then he was 30 metres down the track already before he went back and settled into his blocks. And there was that huge delay that you were talking about.
My concern was that the likes of Noah Lyles had overcooked it. Because what you have as an athlete is a small window. You're ready to rock and roll. We hate delays. The eyes were shifted of every single athlete there, looking at the starter, going, what's going on? Looking up at the big screen. And I thought, he's gone too soon. He's had his powder dampened because there's been a slight delay. He held it together. He absolutely held it together, didn't he? And I'm not even going to say Shane Thompson didn't, because again, 9.79, well, you know, he's one of the fastest times in history. But I can't. Marie-José Perec, incidentally, the double Olympic champion, who Alison used to race against, was just on the big screen as well. The stars are in along with Snoop Dogg. He'll be all over it now. Oh my gosh!
Do you know,
this is good.
I know we obviously want to keep talking about the medalists, but I feel for Simbini. I know he did a national record in 9.82, but again he finished fourth. This is a guy who's finished fourth at the World, fourth at the last Olympics, fourth again. I mean, bless him. At least he can go away and go, you couldn't do any better, mate. You've just ran a national record. Fastest ever, and as Kath said, the fastest ever Olympic final.
Absolutely incredible. And Noah Lyles is the Olympic champion. He talked a good game, but tonight he delivered, and he is officially the fastest man in the world. We will round up another incredible day of Olympics action after the BBC News headlines with Stuart Clarkson.
the voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thank you, Kelly. South Yorkshire Police say at least 10 officers have been injured in Rotherham after they tried to prevent a mob protesting about immigration from storming a hotel believed to be housing asylum seekers. It's the latest in a wave of violent disorder that swept across parts of the UK over the past few days. Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, has responded to the latest unrest, condemning what he called far-right thuggery. He insisted those involved would regret taking part, saying there should be no doubt they'd face the full force of the law. More reaction coming up with Stephen Nolan from 10 o'clock tonight here on 5 Live. Also this evening, the Foreign Office has temporarily withdrawn the families of British diplomats in Lebanon because of fears of a wider conflict between Israel and the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah. The government had already told UK nationals to leave the country immediately. And a suspected sex offender who was arrested at Heathrow Airport in March after more than 27 years on the run has been charged with further offences tonight. Richard Burrows, who's 80, is now accused of a total of 93 crimes. He's due to appear at Chester Crown Court tomorrow.
Escape with a good book on BBC Sounds, like Yellowface by Rebecca F. Kwong.
I play up our connection. My grief over her death becomes a cornerstone of my origin story.
Enlightenment by Sarah Perry.
Thomas examined the image of a stone woman stuck on the verges of the lake. I suppose she's in the water now. What is she holding?
And Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin.
Do you have a mistress? I asked him. I don't seem to be very interested in women right now.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
The Olympic Games, Paris 2024.
With Kelly Cates.
On BBC Radio 5 Live.
Welcome back to the Stade de France, where Noah Lyles of the United States has won the men's 100 metres title. Jamaica's Kashane Thompson took silver. Fred Curley of the USA won bronze. 4 medals for Great Britain and Northern Ireland so far today. Silvers for golfer Tommy Fleetwood and Amber Rutter in skeet shooting. Bronze medals for Lottie Fry in dressage and gymnast Harry Hepworth in the vault. And Novak Djokovic has beaten Carlos Alcaraz to complete the Golden Slam. What an evening inside the Stade de France. It's been a great evening for many of the Team GB athletes. Alison Kirbishley and Catherine Merry are here. But Catherine Merry, despite what anyone else has done this evening, all the conversations are going to revolve around Noah Lyles.
It's the blue ribbon event at the Olympic Games. It is that tag you've just mentioned there, Kelly, of the fastest man in the world. Who is the fastest man in the world? That's the question I asked, and now we know it's Noah Lyles. He is the reigning world champion. Now he's just cemented that by becoming the Olympic champion. And he still has the 200 metres to go, which he is a 3-time world champion at, and arguably that is his better event. Good luck with anybody trying to beat him to that second gold. And then he wants to also do the relay, the 4x1 relay. He's going for the 3. He wants to go down in history. He even flirted and tried to edge his way into the 4x4 team for the USA as well. But I think that door's been closed because I don't think that's going to be an option for them. I can't describe I'm going to repeat myself and I don't want to bore our listeners, but that was just outstanding. It honestly was. When you put the fastest men in the world against each other and they produce a race like that, and a character like Noah Lyles picks up the gold medal, yeah, it's all over the place. It's gone around the world, as you can imagine. Lots of all the athletes that have been watching it in the village. I'm already having texts from people going, oh my God, I thought Thompson would win, as most of us did at the BBC, because remember I said he must have heard, Kelly. He must have heard that our BBC sweepstake was going with Kashane Thompson, and it gave him a bit of fire.
He certainly seems like a man who uses every piece of information to try and motivate him. Noah Lyles, the fastest man on earth in the fastest 100 metres final for the men ever. Alison Kirbishley, what a night.
What a night. I mean, how much sleep's he going to get then? He's got to come back tomorrow night, 8:30, and do it all again over 200 metres. I mean, I'm not quite sure what. I need to go back and I need to watch it, rewatch it and watch it again, because I can't believe what my eyes have just witnessed in this stadium tonight.
So what was it that was unbelievable about it for you?
I think the form going into it, there's only 90 minutes between the semi-final and the final, and Noah just didn't seem to have what I thought he needed. Shane Thompson just looks so good, and I genuinely, I mean, even though I think I wrote 9.81 on our sweepstake, I thought it would be around about the 9.7, knowing that Noah would then have to run a personal best. But I think because of the way he ran out and the kind of, all of a sudden the razzmatazz, which we hadn't seen through the championship up to now, all came out in one go. And when you think about the 100 metres in very basic form, you know, they're running on an energy system that's already in their muscles. I kind of thought he burned it, like Kath said. I'm like, well, what have you got left in the tank after coming out? But that's how he gets himself ready. And that's why I think, you know, this stage was set for him tonight, and Mai delivered.
Do you think he needs it then? He needs it to be a final, Catherine, in order to give himself just that, because it comes down to such tiny margins, doesn't it? Just to give him that extra edge.
Every single major gold medal that Noah has won, and he's racking them up now. I mentioned just one event. He's a 3-time 200-metre world champion. And in terms of the event presentation at major events like the World Championships and the Olympics, they do put the razzmatazz, like they did tonight, on the men's 100-metre final. And back in Doha in 2019, the lights go down, there's a light show, a spotlight across all the lanes. He loves it, and that makes him raise his game even more. He wants to be the one who is being taken notice of by the other athletes. Let me tell you, there is a psychological reason why he runs out the tunnel, runs 30 metres down when all the other athletes are standing there. That is what a lot of sprinters do. My old coach Linford Christie, when he raced in his peak and his pomp, winning the Olympic title against the Americans, would go into a warm-up area, dump his bag in the middle of where the Americans were warming up, take his top off, and then run off into the distance. And the Americans since have said, when we've been chatting in social circumstances, you got us every single time. Before we even got into the arena, because he was trying to put them off and get into their head and look at the shape I'm in. He's a smart man. And it's those 1%ers that we talked about with the likes of Josh Kerr wearing the same kit as Jake Whiteman to get into the head of Jakob Ingebrigtsen so he beat him last year. It's the same kind of thing, but he raises his game when he needs to, and that's the difference between a champion. Experience played a lot tonight. Noah Lyles has been there and done it, not over the Olympic 100-metre distance, but at other major championships. Shane Thompson, at Bleak Seville, he came last in, you know, didn't run particularly well in the final, the other Jamaican. They've never been there before. This man, oh my gosh, he's, you know, he goes to the opening of an envelope. You know what I'm saying? If there's something to be gained, Noah's going to be there.
Yeah, he acted like the Olympic champion before he was the Olympic champion. He's the sort of living embodiment of manifestation, if you like. Noah Lyles then, the 100 metres Olympic champion. It's been a really good night for the Brits as well. I mean, nothing won as yet, but we started off, Alison, with the men's 400 metres and Matt Hudson-Smith looking really good in the heats.
Yeah, looking like a guy that believes that he can do something special out here in Paris. I referenced the fact that a century on from 1924, we were kind of harnessing that Chariots of Fire feel. You know, one of my favourite films ever, and of course it's all about Eric Liddell taking the 400-metre title there, I guess unsurprisingly, because obviously he refused to run on a Sunday in his favourite event of the 100. I'm not sure he would have done the Noah Lyles kind of walk-in, but yeah, for Matt to come here and having a bronze medal and a silver medal at World Championships, and having so much disappointment and so much expectation, but to be able to come here in the best shape of his life, that's all you can dream of as an athlete. You know, it comes around once every 4 years, and right now he has to seize the moment. He really does have to grasp it, and he just looked so supreme in that first heat, 44.78. Michael Norman, the American former world champion, all of a sudden he started to step up. So it's not going to be given to him in the same way that Keely Hodgkinson's not going to get it handed to her. But you know, he really did look confident.
Also should mention that the men's 1500 metres, Catherine, which you referenced there with Josh Kerr and Jakob Ingebrigtsen sort of racing against each other in the semi-finals. But it's Josh Kerr and Neil Gawley who are both through to the final.
Yeah, which is great. Look, it's been a really good day for the British team, right from this morning, from when Lizzie Bird qualified for the women's 3,000 metre steeplechase final. All through the day, most of those that we've expected to progress to the next round have. Yes, you know, we've lost some athletes along the way, but the bigger names of Matt Hudson-Smith, Charlie Dobson, Anne Keeley Hodgkinson, Josh Kerr, Neil Gawley, they're the ones that we expected, and they have delivered. And just for our 5 Live listeners, one of my mates has just messaged me and said, can you please explain to me, Kath, why Josh Kerr and Jakob Ingebrigtsen went against each other in the semi-final when they are the big draw of the final? And it's because of the seeding process. You know, it depends where you finish in qualifying, which then means, you know, and positions and times determine which kind of semi-final you go into. Personally, I'd like to see a little bit more discretion with that process, because I don't want them to race each other in the semi-final. I want it to be the big showcase final, right? But no, he looked supreme, didn't he? Josh Kerr did, as did Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Oh, it's another mouth-watering prospect on the track here in Stade de France.
And Alison, you've both mentioned Keeley Hodgkinson qualified for the final of the 800 metres. No Phoebe Gill, no Gemma Reekie in the final, but Keeley Hodgkinson looking supreme.
Yeah, absolutely. And just looking so composed, so controlled, and so comfortable. Mary Mora from Kenya, there was lots of talk in the build-up to this of what sort of shape she'd be in. Really telling that she was photographed going through the mix zone where all the media are, with both thighs heavily strapped. Now, I don't know whether that was just ice packs or whether she does have any problems there, but that won't have gone unnoticed in Keeley's camp. And look, you know, it doesn't matter for Keeley, because I honestly think she's coming here, she'll run her own race. She will not be fazed by anybody else. And the other 7 girls in the final know that. You know, they will be running Keeley's race. Yes, she's still got to run 800 metres, but it's going to be like 2 laps of honour for her, I think.
That goes at 8:45 tomorrow, the women's 800 metres final, part of another really busy evening here at the Stade de France. As well as the women's 800 metre final, we've got the 200 metre heat. We will see a lot of these sprinters, including Noah Lyles, back in action. The women's 200 metres semi-finals, the women's 5,000 metres final, and the men's pole vault final. That is all taking place tomorrow evening here at the Stade de France. Lots more to come at both track and field here over the next few days, but the action in the pool for this Games is over. 9 brilliant days and nights of competition came to a close earlier this evening. The 5 Live team, Steve Parry, Karen Pickering and Alistair Bruce Ball, can round up everything.
Well, we've got the next 5 or 6 minutes to try and sum up what we've seen in the pool in Paris this week, which is a nigh-on impossible task. It's been an absolutely incredible week of Olympic swimming, but I am going to put the questions to our 2 former Olympians on the 5 Live team, Karen Pickering and Steve Parry. I desperately want to start with our new favourite French swimmer, Léon Marchand, but we're going to come to him in a second. Let's talk Great Britain's performance in the pool this week. 5 medals, 1 gold and 4 silver. How pleased will they be with that, Karen?
I think given how the week started, I think they'll be very happy to picked up, and that one session with two silver medals from Duncan Scott and Ben Proud was the real turning point. I think there are such special moments within those medals, that Ben Proud getting up on the podium finally for a 50, so many people willing him onto that podium. He must have felt lifted through that race. And Duncan Scott winning his 8th Olympic medal in an absolutely epic 200 individual medley. So I think they'll sort of almost be a little bit relieved to get to the end of the week a bit unscathed, and to have retained that 4x2 title, which was so important and such a great moment for the 4 guys.
I think in the end, Steve, it was 4 fourth places as well. We always talk about this, don't we? The fine margins of sport. And, you know, if all 4 go the other way, then suddenly you're looking at an amazing tally.
Well, yeah, I mean, it could have just spun just on 4 100ths of a second on 2 gold medals. You know, we missed out on 2 gold medals by 2 100ths in 2 races. So, you know, that was fine margins. And then, as you say, the fourths as well. You know, I think this is a good performance from Great Britain. 1 gold, 4 silver. It's, you know, it's especially with an off form Adam Peaty, and we know the journey he's been on. It's been extremely tough for him. I would like to see more of a contribution from the women's team. I'm not sure where we're going to see that in the future, but I think that's where British swimming maybe needs to give a little bit of focus.
Right, come on, let's talk the boy Marchand, Léon Marchand, the 22-year-old. Every time I walked out of the hotel in the morning and turned right, there was a giant skyscraper away to the right, and I saw a picture of him every morning. I'll never forget his performances in this pool. All the pressure on his shoulders, Karen. 4 golds out of 4 in the individual events, and the pressure just didn't seem to bother him.
I know, he seemed so calm when he came out for his races. Really didn't seem, and I don't know whether that's because a lot of his preparation coming into these games, obviously he's based in America, and whether because he's a little bit detached from it, it's not the day in day out pressure of being in the public eye in France. He's out of the way of it, and that may well have had a big impact on keeping him a bit calmer coming into it. But once he was here, he couldn't escape it. I mean, the way his races just transcended nationalities, the whole pool pretty much was behind him, but also sport, stopping events at other venues because the cheers are roaring out. They have to stop the tennis, they stop the fencing events because people are watching and listening to him winning his races.
And the great thing is, Steve, we're going to see him hopefully for a few games to come.
For sure. And, I think the biggest compliment I can give him is the only person that could possibly rival him for that level of performances is Michael Phelps, Beijing 2008. But he did something Michael Phelps has never done, and that is a double in a breaststroke event and a form swimming event. And that night will stick with me forever.
If he's our man of the games, Karen, Summer McIntosh, the 17-year-old Canadian, had an incredible Olympics. Katie Ledecky, ridiculous.
Yeah, so Sarah Sjöström also just blew me away this week. But it is Katie Ledecky. I mean, she's extraordinary. And what she's doing in her events, I mean, winning the 800 freestyle for the 4th time, you have to remember that these are events that they're grueling. The physical exertion that she has to put in day out to be able to train on these events. She can't take a bit of a rest. She can't go in the gym and miss her training. She has to put in the meters, which makes it a very different and very significant achievement that she's making, as opposed to somebody who like Flora Manadou who's winning medals on a 50-meter freestyle Olympics after Olympics after Olympics.
9 Olympic gold medals, it beggars belief, Steve. I think it's 14 in total, which I think in terms of the history of the Summer Olympics puts her 4th on the all-time list across every sport.
Yeah, I'm smiling because I'm racking my brains to try and remember all those gold medals that she's got. And I think sometimes it's easier to say, well, what company is she in with those 9 gold medals? You don't need to go any further than Mark Spitz and Carl Lewis. She is an Olympic legend, and I think she's done it in some of the hardest events that there are on the programme.
Right, a bit of fun to finish. I'm going to ask you for your favourite races. Let's do favourite races quickly of the games. I'm putting you on the spot there. Karen, ready to go?
Yeah. Okay, at short notice I'm going to go the women's 100 metres freestyle, Sarah Sjöström. She wasn't even going to swim the race. Her coach said, we'll just see what you can do.
Left-hand side, Sjöström set the Olympic record in the semi-final. She's got the edge at the moment. She's going for the double in the pool tonight, and she's going to get there. Sjöström takes the gold. It is Meg Harris of Australia who takes the silver medal, and the bronze goes to Zhang Yufei of China. What a games for Sarah Sjöström. 2 gold medals in her 5th Olympics.
Are we going non-Marchand races here?
No, you can have Marchand. Marchand. Sjöström caught me out there. She flew up lane 7, but you taught me that phrase for an outside smoker, so I love that. Great choice. Go on then, so you can go Marchand if you want.
I could not believe what I saw when Marchand came past Christophe Malik. The most dominant force in butterfly swimming of the last 5 years, probably ever, and Léon Marchand made them look like a schoolboy on the last 15 metres. I mean, wow.
Marchand has suddenly made up the ground. 2 generational talents going head to head. Marchand, the home hero, roared on by the French fans. He's gaining ground. Milak is trying to hold him off. I think Marchand's going to get him. 5 minutes to go. Marchand's going to get there. He touches first. C'est magnifique. He's done it. His 2nd gold medal of the games. The double is on tonight. And last one for you guys. What about just a moment? Is there anything you'll sort of take away with you, and in a couple of weeks' time you'll think back to the pool? Well, it doesn't have to be a particular swim, or it could be a medal ceremony or something that's happened. Is there anything that sort of, do you think is going to stick with you?
Yeah, I think when the 50-metre freestyle guys came out and Flora Manadou turned to the crowd and got them doing a thunderclap, I've never seen that interaction, that fun, that calm, and just having a good time with the crowd for someone who then went on. He wasn't just taking part in that final. He got a medal in that final. I've never seen that, and I loved that, and I want to see more of that in these events.
Yeah, that was great. Again, I've got to go back. I'm fanboying Leon Marchand, but I've got to go back to the 200 breaststroke, and when 17,000 people were cheering him on every stroke on that breaststroke leg, and he did that double. It was amazing.
He's done it! Astonishing! The roof comes off the La Défense Arena. What have we just witnessed in here? I'll tell you what we've witnessed as Marchand thumps the water with his right fist. We have witnessed Olympic history that has never been done before. That double, no man or woman has ever won a medal in both of those events at the same games. Leon Marchand has ripped up the history books, and he's won gold in both in the space of 2 hours. The boy is superhuman. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Steve, for your company and your superb analysis and commentary throughout the week. USA as well, just to finish the whole thing with a bang. The women's 4x100 metre medley team broke the world record to top the medal table at the end of it all, with 8 gold medals for the USA, just pipping Australia on 7.
Thank you very much to the whole team at La Défense Arena at the swimming pool, where it's been a fantastic 9 days of action where Olympic history was made. This evening at the Stade de France, Noah Lyles has written himself into the history books. He is the fastest man in the world. It's official. There was a slow build-up to the race itself. The crowd inside the stadium had coloured light-up wristbands that were turning red, white and blue as Noah Lyles was confirmed as the Olympic champion in the men's 100 metres race. Afterwards, he spoke to Sarah Mulcairns.
Noah, you are serenading the many fans around this stadium. Olympic 100 metre champion by the finest of margins, 5,000th of a second.
You couldn't have asked for a bigger moment. You know, I have a biomechanist who comes down, and before I came out here, he said, it's going to be this much. That's how much you got to win by, because that's how close it's going to be. And gosh, was he right.
You saved your best till last. Were you in any way concerned about the forms and the heat in the semi-finals?
Hey, I mean, I had to take every round as it was. You know, I was a little upset after the first round, so I came with the aggression. And then after I ran that 83, I was like, all right, the aggression we're done with that. And my sports therapist said, you need to let go. You're holding on. Let go and release it.
So what did you say? What was the final word to yourself in those starting blocks?
Thank you, God.
And then you went and you ran and you got there.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
And you're here, 100 metres, but there's plenty more to go, Noah.
There's plenty more. I hope you guys like Noah, because I got a lot more coming.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And not just from Noah Lyles, there is a lot more coming from all of us here at the Stade de France. Olympics coverage is back from 10 tomorrow morning. Naga Manchetti takes us through the athletics heats, the gymnastics and everything that's going on here in Paris. Tonight from 10, it's Stephen Nolan. But before he takes over, here's another chance to hear Mark Chapman talking about legacies, protein and Paris with 6-time Olympic champion Sir Chris Hoy.